My European family trusted me until I fell in love with an American.
How could you fall in love with America?
I am a 27 female from a European country where family is everything. It's the norm, not the exception, that people live with their parents until late 20s, if not even until 30, and we are close-knit. I still live with them. By the way, this comes from Distressed X, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley, in Riley's room.
In Riley's room. And we're here to give good advice goofily in Riley's room, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I grew up in a fantastic family with 2 supportive, wonderful parents who have always been there for me emotionally and practically. I have no complaints, and I couldn't have asked for better. We are very close. We respect each other's space and time, and we travel together without any issues. Up until now, I always thought there was trust and mutual respect. The issue arose when I met and started dating my current partner. For context, we have been together for over a year now, doing long distance, but meeting up multiple times and spending 2 to 3 weeks together each time. He is from the US. I have had other relationships before, even long-term ones. However, this is the first time that it's been this serious in terms of emotional investment. I feel like I met someone really, truly special who, like my parents, wants to see me blossom and supports me fully. I've dealt with issues of jealousy and even competitiveness from other partners, especially since career-wise, one could say I am ahead of the norm and rather successful.
Ooh, she got that chicken money.
She's getting that chicken money.
Everybody else was thinking about chicken houses, but I got them.
I'm bottom. The biggest issue so far between us has been the struggle with the distance. We had to alternate a few plans, but we had agreed from the start that we could only do distance for a certain period of time, and if we couldn't find a realistic way to close it, then we would have to break up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I think I think you need to have a game plan for when long distance is going to end. Otherwise, it's like, is this going to work out in the long term? After months of a lot of stress regarding that, we have finally managed to find a path that will allow him to move to my country as well as keep his job.
Okay.
A scenario which works out great. I have said from the very beginning that I wasn't considering moving abroad due to the fact I want to be close to my parents. My partner understands, and he has agreed. I've also told him, and he has understood, that I don't plan to move in the future either, so both parties are in agreement with the fact that if we were to stay together, we would build a life here. Initially, my parents, especially my mother, was supportive. She could see that this was a good man who was treating me well.
Okay.
I think the problem arose when she realized how invested I was and how seriously I was taking this particular relationship. Then the panic started. We began to fight constantly in ways we'd never argued before. Day after day, making up, then rinse and repeat. This continued until his visit to my country. When he came to visit my country, I introduced him to them. We went out to dinner, and then we stayed together at my family home and spent most of the next day there, too. Well, you would think this would make everything better. They're about to meet him. Now they don't just have to be like, oh, you sound American. It was very awkward since my partner doesn't speak my native language. My father speaks good, but not fluent English, and my mother doesn't speak it at all. But the worst thing was the fact that my mother and I were still in a minefield, even though I had thought we had reached an agreement. When we met up, the atmosphere was very tense during dinner. My partner then made a faux pas when he opened the car door for me, but not for my mother, who was right next to me. That same night, my mother and I continued fighting. My partner apologized to her, and she had me translate, and they seemed to have a heartfelt discussion, which was very touching for my partner, who teared up because he felt like we had reached a breakthrough. I kept arguing with her, however, for the rest of his visit and for a long time after. Again, the same pattern of ugly fight, thinking we resolve some things and then rinse and repeat. Eventually, though, I thought it got better. There was still the odd argument or conversation about this, but never to that extent again. In fact, I could understand a lot of the concerns regarding my partner. He is foreign, and that might mean he won't be able to understand or accept or even be integrated into our culture. That might cause a strain in our family dynamic and closeness. Because they cannot communicate directly, my partner would learn my language, They cannot get to know him and form a full opinion of him for themselves. They won't likely be able to meet his family, but even if they did, the language barrier would apply. There is a lot of anxiety and concern as to what might happen if we do close the distance now, but in the future he decides he cannot stay in my country and wants to leave, especially if we have children down the line. Since he doesn't have anyone else here, they are worried he will latch on to me and I will not be able to have much of a life outside of him. Nicole says, sounds like you had a mom-family issue, not a boyfriend issue. I agree. Now these concerns are also shared by me. I have tried to iron them out with my partner as well to the best degree of certainty, and he has addressed them well. But there are others that have arisen from my mother. Not now that if I get serious with this man, we are moving on to the next chapter of adulthood, which will essentially mean a lot of distance from my family. How I will not be as close to them anymore. How I won't be able to go on trips with them anymore and leave him behind because he won't accept it without causing arguments in our relationship. The arguments flared up again before, during, and after his recent visit to my country again. My partner came here with the sole priority to make this trip prove to his work that he can work from here and that he can win over my parents. There's a lot of detail I won't go into here so that I don't make this post even longer, but the second time around again of them meeting was a disaster. More awkwardness, more fighting with my mother who couldn't keep up appearances, at least in his presence. She regretted the behavior during that dinner again and tried to make up for it by gestures of gifts and cooking for us when we went away for a trip, like making his favorite food. At some point, this stress took a toll on my partner, who then started seeing their generosity as a lie and believing they have a problem with him specifically. We were staying at a different flat my family owns, and 2 days before he was due to leave, he grabbed his suitcase and wanted to leave the place and go rent a hotel room elsewhere. This put a strain on me personally between me and him, as well as appearances to and for my parents, because it was in the morning and the security camera alarm system notified my father's phone of suspicious movement. So when he checked to see what happened, he saw him packed up and leaving from the entrance of the building. He didn't end up going, but the strain and distance was bigger than ever. My partner insists that he loves me and that this changes nothing about how he wants to be with me, and in fact, spend his life with me. But right now, I continue to be in constant arguments with my mother, my father less so, but I know that he agrees with her on most points. It's daily, and it's taking a huge toll on our relationship. Meanwhile, I can't in good conscience let my partner move here and uproot his life if he is to step into a minefield. By the way, it's not a minefield to find full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search for Bouquet Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Ouch, I scratched myself. Any final thoughts?
The only way that this could actually work out, OP, is if you wanted it to, and you stopped letting your parents control the narrative here, because it sounds like she's
just listening to her parents.
Listening to her parents, is in this relationship. Make a decision. Either stop stringing them along,
or stop letting your parents get involved in your relationship.
Exactly. Pick one and stick with it.
Yeah.
Because if I predict this right, your next boyfriend that you're going to meet is going to be the person you marry because your parents will like them. And they also do whatever your ex did. And they're a videographer as well. So
OP continues. I'm trying to resolve this, but it just feels like descending into repetitive, worsening circles. This is especially hurtful because I genuinely adore my parents more than anything, and I always envisioned a future where my parents and my partner would also have a good relationship. I'm considering therapy to try and understand how to handle this, but I feel like I am at the end of my rope here. Has anyone else dealt with something similar? And if so, how was it resolved? Comment, you have to decide if you are ready to be an adult, making adult decisions, and be in an adult relationship.
Yeah, for real.
Your parents want you to stay as their child and are not open to allowing you to make your own choices and decisions and live your own life. If you aren't ready to become self-sufficient yet or do not love them enough to stand up to your parents, if they love you, they will try to respect your relationship. Then this isn't the right time and or person for you. Agreed. I agree with that comment. But that's the end of that story.
Yeah. And how do we know what their age was again? Un momento. They are 27.
That's a
and
little
30.
too...
$33 mil?
Honestly, that's a little too
Oh.
old for you to let your parents be this involved in your relationship. I understand that you have like family cultural things here, but she needs to be independent.
Yeah.
But we don't know about that. But
We don't know.
I think she just needs to
assumptions.
learn independence, regardless of like, I don't know. You're arguing with your mom all the time. It's not gonna like your relationship will only improve when you start being independent and just being like, I actually, I'm making my own decisions and
Yeah.
this is my relationship and you can think whatever you want and we're not going to have a discussion about it. I confronted my parents about their will and their reason broke my heart.
They gave it all to the dog.
It's the plot of Aristocats, but with a dog. This past weekend, I was house sitting for my parents, 68 male and 68 female. I keep my hunting rifle in their safe since I live in the city. I haven't used it in a while, so I decided to zero it. While getting it out, I did some treasure hunting in the safe. At the time, I really didn't think I was snooping. By the way, this comes from Throwaway 5GGG2S, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily from the comfort of Riley's bedroom. But we don't have all the answers, we only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. NOP says, the whole family has the combination to it. I just never looked before. It was mostly boring stuff like passports and jewelry. But there was an envelope with the logo of a law firm, and in it, the will. As you might have guessed, I was to receive less than my siblings. I have an older sister, 38, and an older brother, 36. They were getting 40% each, while I got 20%.
And
Wow.
OP is 31 mil.
I read through the whole thing, thinking I was to get some other asset or something. But no, it was after everything was liquidated. I don't know why they would do this. The only thing I can think of is that my siblings are both married with children, and I'm single and child-free, but that just feels stupid. They don't know that I'm child-free by choice, and what if I have kids after they passed away? I doubt my siblings would give me that money retroactively. It makes even less sense since my brother has 3 kids and my sister only 1, yet they get the same amount. It's not like it's going to a trust for the grandkids either. It goes directly to us as lump sums. We have talked openly about inheritance before, like in family meetings, but no one ever said that some would get more or less, just things like if someone was interested in the house or farm, or if they should sell it. They have also been open with how much they have. They are both retired now, but have worked full-time jobs and have been running a farm their entire lives.
Aww.
It's been a few years since I saw the numbers myself, but last time they told us it was $2.1 million. Don't live in the States, just seem easiest to convert to. Wow. I'm well aware that 20% of that is a life-changing amount, so a small part of me feels greedy. But the rest of me just feels sad and angry. I haven't been able to get it out of my head. We never fight. We all meet on holidays, etc. I just can't think of anything. And no, I'm not an affair child. My mom's hobby is genealogy, and we all have profiles on Ancestry. And I look just like my paternal grandfather.
Wonder why your mom is an expert or hobbyist in this field. Seems like
What is she hiding?
It seems like she's very knowledgeable about certain things.
None of us siblings are rich. If I had to guess, my sister and her husband are probably in the best state financially, having good jobs and only 1 child. I'm probably the worst off right now since I just bought a house on a single income. Do I tell them what I saw? Do I just forget it and secretly hope that they change it back before they pass away? My head is like a brick right now. I hate this. It's like I will lose whatever I do. What would you do? Any parents with adult kids out there that can see their side and justify it? I feel betrayed. How do I go about this? And
Easy.
there are some comments and an update.
Got 2 routes here.
What?
1, you can confront them, ask them what's up with it, get your emotions out there. Or 2, you scan all those documents. You then proceed to make new documents with an equal split. Therefore, they won't know. They're going to be passed away.
Okay.
And they won't know that the equal split happened.
So the second option is crime. Third option,
No
you
one
don't tell them, and you just start behaving like so good, like you're doing everything for them.
But they don't.
And they're like, "Why are you?"
Oh,
really?
oh,
OP
for that.
really like stepped up his game, and they're like, "We should give all of the money to OP," or you just communicate. I don't know. Comment 1. Here's another possibility. If the parents truly feel that their children's spouses are like their own children, Each adult would equally receive 20%. Comment 2, I volunteered to marry OP and will split the extra inheritance 70-30 in their favor. Comment 3 says you make an assumption throughout your post that the decision to not split the estates evenly was based on children. If that makes you feel better, then fine. Maybe it's true, but why just assume that? It's their money and they can set it on fire if they want to. What I want to know is why you're being treated differently. If I were you, here's what I'd do. Tell them you snooped and you saw the will. Tell them you're more than grateful, as that's a life-changing amount of money for you. I don't want you to change anything because I accept that is what you want in terms of distribution. What I do want is an explanation as to why two siblings are being treated one way and I'm being treated differently. You see, if you both passed and I found out at the reading the will, I would never know why. Did I do something to which you're both still holding a grudge? Is there some problem that we can resolve before you pass? Keep the will the way it is. I'm not asking for more, but I'd like to know why. And if there is a problem, I'd like a chance to resolve it, or at the very least, not to wonder what I did.
Too many emotions in that one.
I think that was good.
Just rewrite the document. It's really not that hard.
I like that comment.
I could see a YouTube video on how to do it. It's pretty easy.
Response.
It'll take you an afternoon.
You're right about what I want to know is why the difference is there at all. Me being single and child-free is the only thing I could think of. I don't know if that's the case. Comment 4 says, so on the one hand, the comments you're getting about not being entitled to anything are 100% true. Inheritance isn't a right automatically bestowed. But on the other hand, I think it's crappy for parents to do this to their kids, giving unequally between them, without sitting everyone down and telling them about it long before anyone has passed away. Stuff like this is a way of breeding real resentment among the siblings, and there's no way to reconcile it since, of course, the people who caused it are now passed away. As for what to do here, I talk to your parents privately. Just explain to them how you came across the will and that you understand you're not entitled to an equal share or anything at all, but it did take you by surprise to see the difference between what you're getting versus your siblings and see what they say. Do be prepared to be hurt by their answer, though. There's no real non-hurtful explanation for singling out one child to get so much less than the other two. Comment 5 says, my grandparents and are millionaires, maybe? Had millions?
Yeah.
My grandfather passed away and grandmother rewrote the will.
Ooh.
There was my mom and her sister. The sister, my uncle, and cousins got about 80% of the money and things. The other 10% went to other people, leaving my family of 5 with 10%. My one cousin got $80,000 each. I got $2,000. What the F? I was the youngest. What grudge did she have against me?
Oh.
I wish I had the chance to ask her why I was such a disappointment to her. I never knew such a thing until she was gone. It is not the money, it's the not knowing. I do know that my grandfather told us that each grandchild would get the same amount when I was around 14. He promised that.
And he kept that promise.
Yeah, she changed it. So what changed? And that is why I would ask them directly with just you and them in the room. I would start with, have I done something to piss you guys off? I have information that you're not happy with me. I want to know what I did. I wish I could have that conversation with my grandmother. And there is an update, but any thoughts besides telling them to commit a crime? I think I agree with the comments. I think talking to your parents immediately, as my cat says, because otherwise you're just going to be wondering about it and it's going to be bothering you forever anyway.
What does it even look like?
What do you mean?
Like,
so you have a will.
I know, but that's happened recently, and I'm not going to be like, yo, where's my inheritance at?
Well, usually you have people at like the will reading and then it's distributed out. You would have gotten information if you had money. Update. I have a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, I just have to talk to them. No getting around it. Someone pointed out that there is no such thing as one will for two people. This is not their individual wills. I don't think they have those. They will inherit each other when the other passes away, as per default as a married couple. This is more of a what it will happen to their resources once they both are gone. Sorry, I don't know how to describe it. We have a word for it, and Google wants to translate it to will. Update 2. I called them yesterday and explained everything I saw.
Uh-oh.
Some of you guessed it. It was the adults they had based it upon, not the kids. My siblings' spouses are great people, and my parents love them as their own. So sure, I can buy that. The kids were also a factor.
Oh.
So it was the fact that they were like, yeah, we just wanted to give each parent, child's partners.
So in that scenario,
Yeah.
everyone got 20%.
I feel like I wouldn't give everyone 20%. I would give her like the not kids 10. You know,
I see what you're saying.
like you could still give them stuff, but I
that's
guess it's their
fair.
decision. So
Looking at it from that perspective, that's fair because it's their money. They can
yeah,
pick what they want to do with
they
it.
can do whatever they want.
It's a little more fair.
I told them I found it a weird way to split it and asked what would happen if I got married. They told me that they will rewrite the will. What if I marry a person they don't like as much? No answer. What if I marry or have kids after they pass away? No answer. By the way, I would like you guys to answer when I call upon you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Boom.
I still don't think that's quite fair.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, again, they can do whatever they want, but I think I would feel a little bit slighted if I were OP.
Gotcha. 2.1 mil.
Like, imagine if your parents were splitting up the will and they gave Tate more because he was getting married. Like, let's say this is like in a couple years.
He's getting married.
He's married
yeah.
and you weren't married.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Like, I feel like, and you'd be like, well, wait, I'm planning to get married too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see their perspective on it. Whenever people do get married, they become one. So a 33% split between all three could work. But
I think if they could give them some, but I don't think they should give them equal shares as the kids.
I'm with Beehive. I don't like it, but it's 100% their money, their choice. Yeah.
I agree.
I think it's nice they think of the partners as children.
Yeah.
Album cover says.
An album cover. OP continues, I asked if they had considered that my sibling spouses would presumably inherit their own parents one day. No answer. Probably the most awkward conversation I've ever had with them. They asked me if I wanted them to rewrite the will to do a 33 split instead. This question actually put me off. So in line, what many have told me, I said no, and that they're free to do whatever they wanted with their money. But I also said I feel disappointed. And what I really want is for them to want to change it. They texted today with an apology and that they will go over their options. I haven't had the energy to reply yet.
That's it?
Yeah. I think the most fair thing would be to do the 33% split.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta split it amongst everybody.
my mom chose her boyfriend over me and told me to grow up.
You're not my dad.
Me, 19 female, and my mom, 39 female, are really close. She's one of my best friends, and I really could not ask for a better mom. She has dated a couple of guys, but really only 2 serious ones. The first one was in 2020, and the second one lasted 3.5 years. It's been a year since they broke up. However, she met this new guy, Dan, 40 male. I hate him. By the way, this comes from Zealous Ideal, tap 8264. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Vincent.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. They have only been dating for maybe 3 months. I moved 45 minutes away for college, but I still visit pretty regularly. From the first moment of meeting him, I already did not like him. I am usually very chill about my mom dating, and she's only had 2 serious relationships that I was completely fine with. So me hating him was kind of a shock. But the last month I was home before my freshman year of college, he would call constantly. I mean, like 5 to 6 times a day. 1 to 2 hour long phone calls. Whenever he called, she would drop everything, shut herself in her room, and completely ignore me. He ruined my last week at home because she spent so much time on the phone with him, and I really wanted some bonding time with her before I left. I told her I did not really like him, but she brushed me off. Then, maybe a month ago, she announced she is moving 22 plus hours away from home with him at the end of the year. Mind you, in her last serious relationship, it took her a year for me to even meet him. So hearing this was incredibly shocking, especially since I had not even met Dan yet. I told her I think she's moving way too fast, but she brushed me off again. I finally was introduced to him a couple of weeks ago, and he sucks. Important info, he has 2 kids. He lost custody of his son, who now lives in Arizona, And his daughter passed away from an asthma attack last year. My siblings and even a close friend of mine had met him, and they all said they disliked him. Upon meeting him, he would not introduce himself, and my mom had to. He would not talk or even acknowledge me that whole weekend, even when my mom asked me to bring him something. He is very touchy with my mom in front of me and my twin, which I think is incredibly rude. And worst of all, he acts like a kid. My mom has to beg him to get off the phone and talk to her, which he then says no to. I'm sorry, what? This person she's been dating for 3 months can't even get off the phone to talk to her?
Hey, babe, you want to like talk about just our future
No.
together? And like, no.
I'm playing Clash.
I'm playing my betting game.
I'm sorry, I can't. He needs to know what she's doing every second. My twin took my mom out for lunch one day, and it wasn't even an hour before he started blowing up her phone, asking where she was, and was super upset that she didn't have dinner for him. He gets annoyed whenever my mom visits me at college for lunch. There are moments where she does look happy with him, but most times she just looks kind of miserable. Just today, he threw a fit because she brought the TV out here for me and my twin. We only have one TV in the whole apartment. My mom needs to do everything for him to be happy or he will be grouchy. She already knows I do not like him, but she does not seem to care right now. She never acted like this before and actually hated women who were all over their boyfriends and bent backwards to please them. She always tells me that my opinion is the most important to her, and if she were ever to act like this with a man, then to slap the crap out of her. He currently lives here with us. When I asked her if he had moved in, she said no, he still has his own place. Then followed up with, he stopped paying rent at his place though, so he can help me with the bills here. She is pulling the exact crap my dad did with his girlfriend. I feel completely lost. I know I need to talk to her. My issue is she is currently watching my cat for me since my school does not allow pets in the dorm, and she occasionally buys me groceries too. I'm super worried that this will ruin our relationship, and I genuinely cannot live with that. She is my mom, and I love her so much, but I can't keep living like this where I feel unwelcomed in my own home. I want to talk to her this weekend, but I'm not sure how to talk to her about this while he is not around. Any advice would be great. And there is an update.
I think you definitely need to get her away from this guy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, yeah, you're nervous, but it seems like the worst case scenario is if you do nothing.
Yeah.
Because he'll still take her away from you and take all of her time and attention, and he's a complete leech from what we've heard so far.
And it feels like, I mean, you said this is one of your best friends. Like, your mother is one of your best friends. You have a very close relationship with her. So I would hope that you could go to her and say, hey, I need to talk to you alone. Take her out for lunch or whatever and say your honest feelings. Say, I'm worried. I don't think that he is, a good person or a good partner maybe. And just kind of, be honest with her. And if she reacts poorly, there's not really much more you can do. You've already said what you feel.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on her to realize that she's making a mistake. She wants to know if I want to come back home today or go back to school today. I'm really torn. I want to see her, but I am worried it will start something else. I'm still crying and cannot really think properly. I had not talked to my mom, but every time I came back, she always seemed a little miserable around him and how he would talk to her. I never said anything because she just kept gushing about him. This Wednesday, after my twin had slept in my bed, they found a plate with a powdered substance on it. I immediately knew what it was and called my mom, demanding to know what happened. She said she and her boyfriend had a few friends over and they did it, but not her, and she's sorry about that. I forgave her, but told her it severely crossed my boundaries and felt like my safe space was violated. Nothing much happened until literally an hour ago. He wanted to go smoke, but my mom was not in the mood. He kept looking for her house keys and asking where they were, and she would not tell them. You don't need the house keys. Our apartment has a code that you type, and it lets you in. And it was not like my mom and I were not going to lock the door on him. He got really pissed, and everything blew up. He ended up taking her house keys and refusing to give them back. I just started bawling my eyes out, and he did a half-butted apology to me about yelling at my mom in front of me. My mom said her kids come before anyone else. He left, and my mom started holding me, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I asked her to please leave him. I've been having dreams where we fight about him and she kicks me out or doesn't talk to me anymore. She didn't like that and told me that people fight and he makes her happy. I told her she seems miserable around him every time I come back. She then said she has always put me and my siblings above her and she's tired of it. I am in college and I need to grow up. She went on to say that he makes her happy and that he just has an a-hole attitude, and that's how he talks, and that I don't want her to be happy. People say and do dumb crap, but it is how you beat that curve that makes a relationship work. She then said that I have not been exactly welcoming to him, but then turned around and said she told him not to get close to us. I tried welcoming him, but cannot exactly do that when he completely ignores my existence and does not acknowledge that I am even there. Again, she says that I'm in college and need to grow up, that not everything is sunshine and rainbows. She then threw my cat in my face, saying how she is scratching up her furniture and was like, "Why did I get you that cat, huh?" I said that she also wanted a cat and that she surprised me with her, not me asking for her. She then said her boyfriend was picking her up in his car and she's gonna get her house keys back and asked if I'm happy with that. She commented that she just wants one thing for herself that is all hers and not anyone else's. Now I'm sitting here in my closet. I don't know if I should leave. My grandma offered me a ride, but the roads are not the best as we just had a snowstorm yesterday and it's still snowing up to Monday. I want to leave, but I do not want him hurting my mama. I'm so paranoid something is going to happen. And there is an update. So this all took place yesterday. I ended up back at my mom's place the following day. I wasn't really sure what to expect or whether she would be mad at me, but I needed to talk to her. When I got there, she's up and about cleaning the house. She looks at me and greets me. I put my stuff away and we sit on the couch and watch TV. That was like that for a couple of hours, where we would talk, laugh, but mostly sit in uncomfortable silence. Then my friend texted me saying they wanted to call and play Roblox, so I went to my room. I ended up making myself lunch on the call and my mom popped in a couple of times to say hi. She was definitely in a better mood now. She had to leave to check on her car. I ended up being on the call for 3 hours. My mom comes back and we sit on the couch. She says, "I think we should talk about what happened last night." I was looking at my phone, reading something I wrote, and then I said something like, "I feel like this should not be a constant battlefield." I meant with her and her boyfriend fighting, but I think she took it as me fighting for her attention, which I guess is not too far off. She went on about how she struggled balancing time between me and her boyfriend, and the reason he does not talk to me is because he feels awful for being around me and my siblings, while he does not have custody of his and cannot see them. She explained that the reason he was in such a mood was because she said something about his daughter and did not apologize for it. His daughter passed away last year from an asthma attack. I'm not sure what she said. She didn't tell me. She went on to say that she really is happy and she can joke with him and not have to worry about him getting butthurt about the kind of jokes she makes. I told her this situation feels like the exact same as my dad and his partner. He moved her in without telling anyone, and I bumped into her on the way to the bathroom. That is a crazy way to meet your dad's partner. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, sorry, who are you? I'm
Who
your
are
dad's girlfriend. What are you talking about?
Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, give it 5.
Yeah. She agreed with me, saying she worried about how that made me feel. She went on to say I'm in college now and our dynamic will change, and she thinks she sheltered me from a lot and did not let me grow up in a sense. You can grow with us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. It really feels like Opie's mom has not picked up anything. She just does not get it.
Yeah, OP, I feel like you just gotta, you're 19, try to find a way out.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. She did not scream or yell. She just cried a lot. They are still together. I'm not sure what to feel. There are moments where I am so angry, moments where I'm sad, but mostly just numb. While I might stay for a day or two for Christmas break, I think I'm just going to spend it mostly with my grandma. I'm sorry this is not the update people were probably hoping for, but I'm slowly navigating everything going on right now. And that is the end of that story. But I think it's just, time to not distance yourself from your mom, but just becoming more independent, because I think, your mom needs to realize on her own the type of situation she's in. But that's the end of that story.
I refused my parents' demands to take my son, and they made us leave.
They should be the ones getting out.
We, 21 female, 23 male, had our son 3, about to be 4, young. I graduated and work full time, and she graduates in the spring. My wife, Micah, is crazy smart. Yeah, I know, not smart enough to not get pregnant, but even I did not think she would get into her dream medical school. We found out the other week. By the way, this comes from Wooden Protection 6503. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. Let us know what you would do in the comments. We live in a high cost of living city and live with my wife's dad, stepmom, and her 2 half-sisters. Her mom is retired and watches our son, so he does not have to go to daycare. We live with my parents for the first 2 years until my mom got cancer and they moved into a smaller house. She is in remission as of last month. I know they love us, but it is like our son is the son of their lives. Micah's parents hate one another, but will take our son places together because they adore him so much. My parents have more pictures of him in their house than me or my siblings. Sometimes we have to push back on them and tell them that we actually would like to do things with our son instead of them always having him. For instance, this weekend, her stepmom told us she was going to take our son to see the lights, even though we already had plans with him. She seemed upset. It is not bad. I'm just trying to explain how much they adore him and spend time with him. But things are changing, and we will be moving next year. I need to find a job, and even though things are rough out there, my field should not be too bad. Her school will have daycare for our son, but it is causing so many issues. All 5 of them sat us down last week and said that we should consider leaving our son here for the first year. We obviously kind of freaked out and told them no, he is our son and belongs with us, and ended the conversation pretty quickly. It is true, he is my little best friend, and I cannot imagine not seeing him every day, like I am some divorced dad from the 90s. Micah is the same way, but she is not the most emotional person. I know her and can tell she is freaked out just by the thought. They have still tried reasoning with us. They keep saying it's just 1 year for us to get settled, and then he can come and join us to start kindergarten. They have promised to bring him to see us every weekend, but he is so young, and I do not want him in the car 10 hours every week. And he loves his grands, but we are his parents. He will miss us for sure. All of our parents have been giving us the full court press since then. Micah's mom tried convincing her last night, and she said she's starting to think they are right. I think they are just wearing her down, but she was freaking out last night, saying that with a toddler and medical school and just not normal college, she might fail, or we might fail to do the best for our son. He is such a great and happy little boy. And she was spiraling about him hating daycare and missing his grandparents. I reminded her that millions of kids go to daycare and love it, and he would miss us too. She agreed, but I can tell she is still upset. I'm wondering if I'm being illogical. Is it even fair to my son to bring him with us when it is going to be hard and take away from his life here? Someone suggested me staying and my wife going herself. She kind of mentioned this and immediately freaked out. We are in the US. Edit, to be clear, I do not want to live apart from her for sure. I'm not jealous or anything, but I could see me getting resentful if it is like I am here being a single dad and she is out on her own. And then she is resentful that I get to be with our son. Plus, I take good care of her, and she will need that medical school. We have an update. Y'all seem really chill with the fact that they just want to keep your baby.
Yeah, it's like, especially when it's like their second chance of like, we have a kid now. Like, we had the trial. It was you guys, OP. I think it's a very kind gesture, especially with you guys being young and like she's going to medical school and all that stuff. But it's also your kid. Yeah, if they can't understand like, hey, if we need your help, we can come to you for help, especially since you guys are retired.
Right. If you're so willing to bring them on the weekends, why don't you come down on the weekends?
Thank you. Exactly. You know, if that's the case, if it's too hard, we can, drive them down for the weekends or maybe once a weekend. We can figure this out. But hey, great, very nice gesture of you guys to say that. This is our son. I think we're going to try and handle it ourselves. And if it really gets to that point of we can't do this or it's getting really hard or we're financially struggling, what have you. Whatever it is, we have you guys there as a backup to help us out. But we are adults. This was our decision. Our son. This is our child. Let us go, figure it out our own. We can do this in like a kind way. Like, no, you can never see our son again. It's just like, hey, we can do this ourselves. And if we really need you guys or if we want your help, something along those lines, we're not sidelining you guys. It's not the end of it. We can come visit. I know you love our son. He's your grandkid. Great. But stop pestering us about taking him for a year. That's not going to happen.
My wife and I are in our early 20s and have a 4-year-old son. We have been living with our parents and have recently had a horrible fight with them. They want us to leave our son with them next year when we move for her to go to medical school. We said no. We were living with her dad and stepmom and they told us to leave. We could have had more saved, but we have been paying things off and having a son is expensive. Our first night we went to a hotel with our son. It was not a good situation and her mom told her she and our son could stay with her but not me. Obviously, she and our son being safe and warm is the most important thing, so I insisted she go there and stayed with a buddy. It has only been a few nights and I've been looking for a place for 3 of us every free second. Our city is so expensive and all I have been able to find that is available and we can afford is far away or in dangerous areas. My wife is still in school and the safest place I can find for us is almost 45 minutes one way. I feel like such such a failure of a husband. I miss my son, and most of all, I miss my wife. I've been getting my son after work so she can study. But what kind of husband and father cannot provide a place for us? Even though her mom is letting them stay there, she will not watch him while we work and go to school like she used to. I know we were lucky, do not yell at me, but my wife has had to miss class and ask for favors from friends because I work full-time and do not have flex PTO, and my only option would be unpaid FMLA. My parents will not take my calls and have my sisters ignoring me too. My brother offered for me to stay with him, but his apartment is not in a super safe area, and he has 3 other roommates. My buddy is the one I am staying with, and his parents have offered for us to stay with them. They are lovely and have known us forever. But staying with people again scares me. I know my wife and son are safe, but she is miserable and busy. I feel bad she is the main one responsible for our son right now, while she feels bad I cannot see him as often. And not to brag, but I take good care of my wife, making sure she has lunch packed and all her stuff before school so she can focus on her grades. And now she does not have that. I never thought they would cut us off. I feel like a failure to my wife and son. This sucked. And we have another update. I wanted to finally give a happy update. We get our keys to our place tomorrow. Originally, Micah's best friends were going to let us stay with them because we live in a very high cost of living area and Micah is only working part-time. But when we started clearing out their basement for us to stay in, we discovered mold, termites, and mice.
Ooh.
The friends' parents need to do a bunch of work. They felt bad, but after what I saw, I feel bad for them. They are so nice, and I said I would help in any way, but I do not know much about all that. We are in a hotel now for tonight. When I went to pick up Micah and our son, her mom raged at me and accused me of ruining her daughter's life and said she wishes I would pass away. I got my wife and son out of there as quickly as possible, but it was pretty bad. But it is going to be okay. I found us a place that is safe and we can afford. It is a little further than we would like from my work and her school, but we will figure it out. It is small, and we are going to have to share a bedroom with our son, and it is going to be cramped, but it is just less furniture that we need. Trying to stay positive. We will be together, and that is what matters. I have seen them every day, but I missed my family so much it hurt. I am so happy we are together tonight and cannot stop snuggling them. My son likes it, Micah tolerates it. The good news is that all of this has made her even more determined to go to medical school with our son. Her parents had been giving her the full court press, and I know she was upset and questioning everything, but she is not anymore. And by the way, you guys never have to question where to get more full episodes with stories just like this from, because you can just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Boom, you went through that brick wall. You went through that unstoppable wall, and you figured it out. I'm so proud of you, OP. Yeah, good on you guys on pivoting and literally figuring out something that's going to work. That works for everyone. For you, for Micah, your son, and you didn't cave in. That's great. And especially with the stepmom saying, "I wish you were unalive,"
yeah, they just
is insane. And you're like, okay, well, on that point, yeah, on that notion, you're never seeing our kid again.
Really sealed the deal for yourself.
Yeah, you made it pretty easy to help. Thanks for everything you've done, but goodbye now.
I have a surprise I cannot wait to tell Micah when our son falls asleep. Since we have not been able to be together, I've spent the past few weeks helping my coworker's dad with a project for extra cash. I will not be able to give them the magical Christmas they are used to, but we can make it our own, and our son will have gifts to open Christmas morning, and so will she, without pulling from our moving and living budget. I know she has had a really difficult few weeks, and I'm hoping she can forget about all of that soon. We are excited for the future.
I think that's great. I think you are really, both you and Micah are pushing and
you're crushing it. I had no doubts you'd find a place eventually. It just takes a sec.
Yeah, I think things were definitely high strung there for a second and high stress, but you made it through, and there are going to be more moments like that in your life. Hopefully not, but that is life. I'm not a parent, but I know that happens from time to time. You guys seem like, go through all the struggles, but you'll do it all together and you'll do it perfectly fine.
I thought my wedding would be great, but my parents ruined it.
Well, I guess you shouldn't have had those.
This was my and my then wife's, now ex, first marriage for both of us.
All right,
that
spoilers.
stinks. We divorced about 5 years into our marriage. She's a wonderful person. However, I am a water sign. She's an earth sign. So together we make mud. Ew.
Hey.
She's now happily
Hell
married.
yeah.
She's now happily married.
Yeah.
She's now happily married.
Muddy. That's getting muddy.
With beautiful children, as am I. So no hard feelings. Which surprises me because my ex was treated like crap by my mom and dad. By the way, this comes from P and Coop. And if you want to spit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments.
Let us know what you would do, you little mud pie.
And OP says, to note, I live in Canada. There are Canadian references in the story. Now, my mom and dad, in hindsight, are a handful. They lie, twist facts, blame everyone else. I was raised in this and do not have much outside context to compare to. This was my normal. Please do not judge. I should have, could have, and now today would have said something to stand up for what was right. You think I kid? Read on. So, build up to the wedding, I proposed and Tara accepted. I told my mom and dad the next day. The first words were, and I quote, "Okay, but we're not paying for anything because if we do, we feel we should have a say in the wedding. And we do not want to. It's your wedding." Wow.
So you're like, so you think if you pay and you don't want to have a say, you would pay the money and then just be like,
I can't have that type of responsibility.
I can't stop myself. I must have control.
Now, I'm not into monetary stuff, but I was brought up in a home that was lower middle income. Tara was from a fairly wealthy family. To be honest, such early days into our engagement, day one, I never really thought about the cost. But my expectations for the wedding were small, elegant, and intimate. But this is important. My parents said to me that they will not pay for anything because then they get a say in the wedding planning. Weird, because really you could do what my ex's parents did, which was help about 95% to pay with 0% influence. Wedding plans have not been made, but perhaps the event in 6 to 8 months. First event, spring. Parents meet the parents. My mom and dad are invited to my ex's parents for dinner. Very lovely, conservative setting. Large house on an acreage with a lake. Very nice. About 15 minutes into the evening, we are having hors d'oeuvres, and my dad says, out of the blue, "We will not pay for anything, because if we do, we get a say in the wedding."
Stop
saying that.
Just say that. What? Like,
we don't want to pay for the wedding. There. Period.
Just shut up.
Wow. Okay. Everyone was silent. Then my ex's parents state they had always intended to pay for the wedding. I was shocked. I had started to save money. But okay. Now, dinner time. Future mother-in-law asks me if my family has any food allergies or likes or dislikes. Nope. All good. Or so I thought. At the dinner table, my mom tells my future mother-in-law that she cannot eat dinner as she has an asparagus allergy. What? I knew this was a lie. So my mother-in-law quickly makes a whole new meal for my mom because if asparagus touches anything, my mom will be violently ill. OMG. My mom then said she hated the wine. So 3 new bottles of wine, and finally, one was okay and would do. The night ended, whatever. The next day, my mom and dad stated that all my in-laws wanted to do was show off their money. This went on and on. Second event, bridal shower. My mom is invited. She tells me that she is giving us a wedding gift, thus there is no bridal shower gift. Okay, I tell my fiance, she's fine with it. Again, we have no expectations and are just thankful for the love and support. Again, my ex is a lovely person. Word from the bridal shower got back to me like, "Is your mother okay?" She seemed upset. Third event, bachelor party. I'm not a get wasted till you're effed up type of person. Nice restaurant, friends, good wine, a glass of scotch, etc. I wanted my father to join. My best man asked everyone attending the bachelor party to put some money in to pay, and he would pay the outstanding balance and tip. My father states, "I will not pay anything, because if I do, I get a say in the wedding and bachelor party, which I do not want to have a say in." Dude, we get it. You said it before.
This guy doesn't understand the concept of just like doing something and then shutting your mouth.
Yeah.
You could actually, fun fact, you could just give them money and then go, "And I won't have anything to do with this."
Or you could just not give the money and shut up.
Yeah.
There's 2 options.
Make a decision about that, please.
Just stop telling me. My father then says that there's nothing on the menu he can eat because he has irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Effing news to me. So he ums and ahs and pouts to the point it was making a scene in the restaurant. The manager comes over, the manager knows the reasons for the event, and asks my father if he can do anything for him. Top tier restaurant, mind you. My dad asks if they could bring in some food from Timmy's. Now you ask, Timmy's? Yes, this is a Canadian short form for Tim Hortons. Think Starbucks, but crappy. The manager gets my dad's order for Tim Hortons and has it brought to my dad on a plate. This is like what they do in the Bear. In that fancy restaurant, they like order out.
This
and
is
they,
above and beyond. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Spoilers.
So they must have been at a nice place.
That must have been a really nice place.
Yeah.
I gave a $200 tip on top of the generous tip, but lesson learned, or so I thought. Fourth event, bridal party dinner. A nice restaurant was chosen. I show the menu to my mom and dad prior just to be sure. Great, everyone's good. French restaurant. My in-laws are paying because, yes, my mom and dad stated to everyone, including the restaurant staff. The waitress looked at me and rolled her eyes, that they will not be paying, and they don't want to say in the wedding.
I'm going to say this for the first time. I ain't paying, because if I'm paying, I have to do the whole wedding by myself.
Well, no, nothing on the menu for my mom and dad to eat. Off the menu, the restaurant made a sandwich and a salad for them. My mom orders a bottle of wine and does this ridiculous thing. Dips her tongue into the glass and smells the cork.
Dips her tongue in the glass?
That's not
like
how
a
you
cat?
do it fancy like.
Like a cat?
You're supposed to swish it, and then you take a sip, and then you spit
You
it out
smell
or
it?
something, and then you smell it.
You swish it? What?
States this wine is horrible and it's
What?
gone bad. Wine, I don't know too much about wine. I don't think that's possible. The second bottle is the same thing. The manager comes over and states if the next bottle is bad, we have to pay for all of it. She pouts and says the third bottle is okay. I am so humiliated. Fifth event, wedding. The bridal party is having a rehearsal, including seating arrangements. The venue is small, 50 people. A historical landmark, beautiful and intimate. As we're discussing who's sitting where, my dad pulls me aside and is upset. He says that more tables are needed. Really? For who? He invited, unbeknownst to me or my fiance, extended family I have not seen in 25 to 30 years. Their children, my cousins, one was in jail at the time, and kids, forgot to mention, this is a no children event and has to be this way for the liquor license. It was a weird policy. Oh, right. They also invited their neighbors, some who I never met, including, hold on to your effing socks, a refugee family and their kids that arrived in the country about 3 months prior. It's kind of nice of them. They're like, hey, they just got here.
They've got to do one thing nice,
yeah, they
right?
gotta do one nice thing.
They've just been the
most
I
terrible.
can't honestly. If I had like parents,
if
my parents,
You had parents?
if my
I had
parents
parents.
were acting that way at like
Yeah.
the restaurant,
yeah,
and it was like I'm assuming like this was a really nice place.
yeah,
I'm like you guys gotta go.
you gotta
home.
go home. Yeah,
That was so viciously embarrassing for me
I think OP's
around
just, like,
around
yeah.
my partner's family.
Yeah. I
Oh
think
my
OP's
God.
just like so, I don't know, scared to say anything. I mean, we learned from the beginning of the story that he was like, I would do things differently. I would speak up now, but couldn't do it then.
He was like, don't judge me.
yeah, I'm judging a little bit.
Judged a little bit.
Well, I'm judging your parents way more than I'm judging you.
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
Oh,
honest.
yeah, facts.
Oh
but-
yeah. My parents felt sorry for them as they had no family or friends in the country. You know what? That one, nice of them. So in total, about 50 more people. That's crazy. The maximum number of people for the venue, 50. We are now at 100. I asked the venue manager what flexibility we have. Nice enough person, and said the chances of the fire department showing up on a Saturday evening are nil, but only 15 more people. My mom and dad refused to contact the individuals that could not attend because this was a mean thing for me not to allow them to attend. But true to their words, my mom and dad refused to pay for the additional food and booze costs. Why? Surprise! Because they don't want to have a say in the wedding. That's so funny because it seems like you're having a say right now in inviting 50 more people.
Yeah, that
That's a say.
funny enough is actually they're just like, well, that doesn't count. I just meant like what color the curtains are.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you.
I just meant the decor.
One final point, the wedding gifts. Right, I effing kid you not. I kid you not. A $25 gift card to Zellers. Think Kmart. Broom, mop, bucket, cleaning supplies, and a book. Think I'm joking? This is a link to the book. the queen of clean. There is more. These are only the
I'm
highlights.
sorry. They got a gift card and a book for cleaning.
Yep, that's what they got.
So that you could be
Yep.
that you
Yep.
you mm,
Yep.
mm,
Mm.
mm.
There is more. These are only the highlights. Everyone reading this, please realize that growing up in a crappy, dysfunctional family is tough. We do not know what normal is. True story. Amen. Hi.
I would be getting my parents the next gift I get them would be
Yeah.
like a brochure for a retirement home.
Yeah.
And I'd be like,
I'm
this is
getting him
where you're gonna stay now.
I'm getting them How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I'm getting them
Read it a couple times because y'all don't know. Hi, these are just the big highlights. My wife reminded me of one interaction I had with my mom just before the wedding. This is a window into my day-to-day life as I grew up. My wife feels this interaction really sets the milieu of my life. By the way, you can set the milieu of your life by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
milieu is a nice word.
It is a nice word.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess you ended up with 5 years
Yeah.
with your wife.
5
at the
years is
time.
impressive given these people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it was me, I'd be like, no, those people, I don't want those people around ever.
Yeah.
I see them once a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That they act this way. I don't want to have to
No,
hang
they
out with them
stink.
ever.
They stink. But there is a little bit left. I hope that you don't have contact with them, or very little. So it is the morning of the wedding. Flowers arrive. Beautiful day, sunny with a few puffy clouds. Everything's going well. Or is it? I'm walking to the venue with my mom. The ceremony and reception are all happening in the same venue. So my mom asks me, are the flowers fake? Me, no, they're real. Tara and her mom picked them out. My mom, oh, because they look like they're passed away. So the logic is fake flowers equal passed away ones? Thank you, everyone, for your comments, thoughts, and questions. Never expected this, and weird in a way. And that's the end of the story. I hope that you have very little contact with your parents. They seem nightmare-ish. I don't like them. They seem awful.
I would cover every square inch of their house with Post-it notes.
Yeah, they seem just dreadful.
I called out my mother in front of everyone and embarrassed her in the process.
What did you do this time, Mother?
To preface this, my mom and I have a good relationship.
Okay.
The only problem is my mom is the type to share news about what's happening in my life despite me asking her not to.
Classic.
I don't like my life being discussed like it's an everyday topic, and I find it especially creepy when people that I really don't know well, like friends or coworkers of my mom, approach me in public and start asking me about something that I never told them about myself. By the way, this comes from username Radiant Disaster 614, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Vincent.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't got all the answers. We only know what we would do. So tell us what you would do in the comments. And these aren't little things like I started a new hobby or I'm planning to take a vacation. These are big events that are really no one else's business but my own. For example, when I was 11, I got my first period. She told everyone all about it on Facebook and couldn't understand why I was so embarrassed and didn't want to talk to her about anything else that happening in my life. As a result of this habit, she has also developed a habit of sharing my good news with people before I had a chance to do it. I told her I got accepted into the college of my dreams, and she told everyone what happened before I had the chance. She did it again then when I got engaged a few years later, and she even told everyone our wedding day before we had a chance to send it out in invitations or form a guest list. My husband has sided with me whenever I've asked her to stop doing this, and to stop sharing news that I or we don't want shared. We want to confide in her and have her in our lives, but her inability to contain her excitement is really driving us up a wall. Now, on to the reason behind this post. Me, 24 female, and my husband, 24 male, have been together for 6 years.
Ooh.
We met in college, hit it off, dated for 4 years, and have been married for 2 years. We've agreed that we are going to focus on our education and careers and not have any children. Neither of us see our futures including kids. And that hasn't changed in the 6 years we've been together, despite everyone insisting we change our minds or catch baby fever once our friends start having kids. My husband has 5 siblings, 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and they all have kids. Yet our minds haven't changed. My mom is one of the people who is adamant that we'll change our minds and have kids someday. And she makes it very clear she wants to be a grandmother at every opportunity she gets. I can understand her wanting grandkids, and as her only child, I understand why she only has me as her living family, which means her whole world really revolves around me. My dad passed away when I was 6 from injuries in a car accident, so it's just been me and my mom ever since. She wanted more kids after I was born, but my parents didn't have the money or the time to raise more children. And as a result, she doted all over me. Despite telling her many times that kids aren't in my future plans, my mom insists that it's going to happen. Every little thing I complain about, from working crazy schedule hours because I travel a lot for work, she hints that maybe it's not just fatigue or a headache or motion sickness, that it's the first signs of pregnancy, and that I should take a test. I am not pregnant and haven't even had so much as a scare since my husband and I are very careful. This past summer, however, something health-wise didn't add up to my usual traveling fatigue. I stopped getting my periods, so I took a pregnancy test and it was negative. I took 2 more tests when I missed 2 more periods and they were all negative. I also noticed I was getting a small belly despite not having any changes in my diet or exercise routines. I was thoroughly exhausted and felt like I was constantly on the verge of getting the flu.
Okay, we gotta go to the doctor because that might be like a tumor or something.
Well, and I agreed that her husband and her agreed to go see the doctor.
Good.
I made an appointment near the beginning of November of this year. Told my doctor what I had been noticing, the negative tests and the missed periods, but I was certain I wasn't pregnant. She agreed to run a blood test to rule out pregnancy and confirm that I was in fact not pregnant. It was then she and my gynecologist agreed that I need to have an ultrasound to see what was happening inside my abdomen. That's when they discovered a very large fibroid tumor growing in my uterus.
Yep. Whenever, if you ever, women, ladies out there, or people that have uteruses, if you ever have an experience where you notice like weight gain, pregnancy symptoms or pregnancy signals like not getting your period and stuff, and you aren't, not pregnant, no, you're not pregnant, have taken tests, it's usually a tumor. And get that checked out.
The tumor was about the size of a
Oh
softball
my goodness.
and had grown in such a way that it was essentially plugging up my pelvis and preventing my monthly period from escaping. My doctors agreed I needed surgery to have the tumor removed, but that I'd have to wait a few more weeks for the procedure. My surgery was scheduled for this past Saturday, November 29th, and since then I've had the surgery and I am recovering well in bed with my husband at my side. Due to the surgery taking place after this past Thanksgiving, and since I was no longer traveling for work, my husband and I were able to go to my mom's house and celebrate the holiday. That also meant I was able to go out shopping with my mom and buy groceries and prepare a meal since she'd be hosting it and my aunts, uncles, and cousins over for the day. Well, you can guess what happened. She saw that I had a bit of a belly growing on me. She got all excited and insisted that we go look at baby clothes, even though I told her I was not pregnant. It took me telling her repeatedly, getting a little louder each time before she stopped trying to drag me to the baby section of the store. I told her that I was going through something very personal and that I wasn't going to tell anyone in the family, including my husband's side, until after Thanksgiving. She kept badgering me to tell her what was really going on, but since she has a track record of not being able to keep sensitive information to herself, I didn't tell her. I again reminded her that I was waiting until after Thanksgiving passed to share the news. She seemed fine with it. We finished our shopping, and that was that. At least I thought so until Thanksgiving dinner a few nights later. This is where the a-hole part may come in. My family gathered at the table and having a good time talking to each other, having some food, and just catching up on everything. I wasn't eating as much as I want because of the impending surgery. And of course, I wasn't drinking any wine. Again, my mom took this as another sign I was pregnant.
Oh, no.
Nausea and avoiding booze and kept hinting it at the table. I put my hand on hers, looked her in the eyes, and reminded her yet again that I wasn't pregnant. But she got this look like, I get it. You want to keep it a secret. And seemed to be set in her ways.
She's like, right, you're not pregnant. I'm gonna, ooh, ooh, oh yeah.
There's something like, I know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And she's going to be like, why didn't you tell me? And you're going to be like, I told you literally 50 times.
I was not pregnant.
I was not pregnant.
But I didn't realize that meant that you weren't pregnant.
Just as the desserts were being brought out, my mom decided that she wanted to share what we were thankful for that year. That's a tradition in our family. And it's not unusual for people to speak up at the dinner table. But when it came to my mom's term, she blurted out the lie she had been believing and held up a brand new baby onesie that she had been hiding somewhere in the kitchen to announce my non-pregnancy to my family. Everyone got all excited for me and turned to congratulate me and my husband, and I had enough. I told everyone up front loud and clear that I wasn't pregnant. I told them I had been telling my mom for days that I wasn't pregnant and that I had a different matter going on that I wanted to keep quiet until after the holidays. But if she insisted that we all share news of what we're grateful for, I was going to speak next. I told everyone I was grateful for having such a loving, supportive husband at my side who was helping me through my current health scare and impending surgery, and that he was doing it without blabbing about it to our entire family in the process. I said I was grateful to have someone in my life who actually listens to what I say and doesn't insist that he somehow knows better than I do, especially when it comes to my own health.
Ooh.
After that, I just got up from the table and left. My husband followed me
Ooh, entourage.
and held his arm around me the entire drive home. As I cried in frustration at what my mom did and how she again embarrassed me and tried to usurp what I thought was good news from me. We got home, I cried some more, and went to sleep, and turned off my phone so I could focus on preparing for my surgery and not stress about anything. The surgery was a success!
Nice.
The tumor was removed and determined to be benign.
Yay.
But due to its size and location and how much it ingrained itself in my uterus over the past 6 or so months, I had a partial hysterectomy.
Ow.
During my recovery, I've begun to wonder if I was too harsh on my mom for calling her out in front of the family. But my husband insists that since I've tried to put up with that particular boundary of not sharing my personal news with other people for most of my life, and since she continues to cross it, I am not the a-hole. I still feel bad though, and I want to reach out to my mom, but I don't know what to say. We have an update. Wow. First of all, thank you everyone who weighed in and helped put my mind to ease. For those who shared their own stories, I'm sorry you went through something terrible as well, and I'm glad you're all doing much better. It's reassuring to know that my comment, while harsh, was warranted. Stop telling me my mom is horrible. This negative incident and the others I mentioned are just a handful of events that are greatly overshadowed by all the wonderful things my mom has done for me. She's not a perfect parent, but she never once made me feel as if I was unloved or unwanted. She held me when I cried over losing my dad, even when it felt like I was crying every day. She held me when I cried over losing my dog. She held me when I cried over breaking up with my first boyfriend. She attended every basketball game I ever played, never missed a special event in my life at school or in my social life, and she supported me throughout college without ever asking for anything in return. She went well out of her way to help me find the perfect wedding venue when I was stressed out over planning my wedding. She always took care of me when I was sick or injured. She even gave shelter to one of my friends who was in a dangerous family situation, and she did it without expecting anything in return. She also volunteers down at the local animal shelter to help take care of cats and dogs that need extra love. She did a terrible thing, but that doesn't mean she's a terrible person. Another amendment. I am not going to go no contact over this situation. A lot of people suggest this after having decided that I don't understand my own relationship with my mom by reading this one post. I'm not going to cut her off after I finally work up the nerve to call her out. If she doesn't change her ways, then I simply won't confide in her. But I will not cut her out of my life completely. Yes, she did reach out to me, and yes, she did apologize. She sent flowers to my hospital room the day after my surgery with an apology card and texted an apology as well. She admits that she was way out of line and that she doesn't listen to me. And she has promised from now on she'll do better when it comes to listening to what I say. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt and give her a second chance. My recovery is going well. I'm still having some pain through my abdomen, especially around the incision site, but I have no infections, negative side effects, or post-operative complications. My husband has been taking care of me. His parents have stopped by to help with errands and make sure I'm resting well, and just keep me company while I'm recovering on the couch all day. My mom stopped by and brought me my favorite cheesecake to help me feel better and genuinely seems apologetic for what she said and did. By the way, you don't need to apologize if you want to listen to more podcasts just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast purveyor and look up OK Storytime.
I think at the end of the day, I think you can have whatever relationship you're comfortable with having with your mom. It's just knowing what you can and can't tell her.
Breaking through in this way,
Yeah.
the little verbal smack you gave her, is working. To those of you sharing your own stories of needing a similar surgery as I did, I am glad to know others went through what I've gone through and are thriving. It gives me hope that now that the surgery is over and that tumor is out of my body, I'll start feeling like my old self again. Thank you for all of your input. I will consider having my mom and I sit down to have a discussion, not as a mother and daughter, but as person to person. When it comes to respecting boundaries, a lot of you have pointed out that my mom seems to have enmeshed herself into my life. And you're right. After my dad passed away, I was all she had left, since our extended family lives out of state. I'll suggest she speak to a therapist or grief counselor so we can work on ridding ourselves of our own demons. And that is all.
And that's
Yeah.
all she wrote?
Yeah, I definitely think some therapy is
Yeah.
will
I
be
mean, you
good
went
for
through
her.
the loss of your father and then grappling with the change of relationship with your mom. And
My mother is stuck in her divorce, and now she won't show up for me.
Help her get unstuck?
My mom divorced my dad 13 years ago when I was 12, and ever since then, they have resented each other and are unable to communicate. Dad doesn't really want to talk about mom, but mom has been talking crap about dad for a long time and always gets mad when me and my brother spend time with him. By the way, this comes from a user throwaway30301919, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Keon,
I'm Carly.
and we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't know all the answers, guys. We only know what we do, so let us know what you do in the comments, please. This has gotten exponentially worse since my dad started dating an old friend of my mom's a couple years after their divorce. She can't even talk about dad's new girlfriend without lashing out. Throughout the past 13 years, she has told me stories about how mean dad has been to her, how she was always the one to help me out with things, though I honestly can't remember if this is true or not. She has told me how he used to be violent with his brother and how he pulled a knife on him when he was younger. My dad is no saint, but we have a good relationship now, and he has really matured over the years. She even lied about my dad having autism, which he does not have. She gets super salty every time I spend time with dad and his girlfriend. She will literally say things like, "Oh, I heard you had a really nice dinner last weekend. Must be nice for them." Or, "So, did you visit my old house with the new girlfriend lately?" Since my dad still lives there. She talks about how she might pass away soon. She says things like, I will not live forever, so you should call me more often. And how she regrets not talking more to her late mother. She keeps giving me items from her apartment, saying she is emptying and preparing. I have called her out on emotional blackmailing, but she just responds with something like, "Do you really think I would do that? It says more about you than me that you would even think that." Or, "Well, I guess I am a terrible mother then." The emotional
Classic.
manipulation. "I failed you as a mother, so I am a bad guy. I don't deserve you guys. You don't need to talk to me anymore. I'm just a terrible mother."
He wants you to come back and be like, "No, Mom, you're not."
"Yeah, you're right. So stop hanging out with your dad." She's always telling me how insensitive of a person I have become, since we used to have a pretty good relationship pre-divorce. when I was her little boy, how I'm emotionally incapable and do not care about her feelings. I get really confused since I always try to accept responsibility for my part of the problem, but sometimes I don't know if I am the one in the wrong. Every time I try to criticize her behavior and tell her I do not want to hear how much she hates my dad, she gives me the same sarcastic line about being a terrible person and how I would probably want her to pass away. She talks about how much PTSD she has after the divorce and about her encounters with different therapists and how terrible her mental health has been, which makes me really uncomfortable to hear about, but she insists I must hear the truth. Then she tells me that her feeling so bad mentally is because of me and my brother, and how we never talk to her. She essentially says I am the key to her mental health. When I call this out, she goes straight back to the same sarcastic response about being a terrible mother. When I suggest going to therapy together, she immediately says, well, sure, if you pay for it, knowing I can't afford it since I'm in college. She had things like, look at the grown-up who tries to be so mature and constructive all the time. Every time I do call her, she throws it in my face how rarely I call her and how she knows nothing about my life. She even told my girlfriend how little I call her and how she knows nothing about her son's life. One time she called while I was at dinner and I said, Mom, we're about to eat dinner. I can't talk right now. She exploded with, oh, see? You never have time for me. It doesn't matter if it's a good time for me. It matters if it's a good time for you. I told her this was an overreaction, and she responded with the same sarcastic routine. She used to spam my phone until I put down boundaries and said, I will call you when I have the time. I decide when we talk. This might seem harsh, and she obviously lashed out. When I do call her, she sarcastically says, well, I had some things I needed to ask you, but I can't remember them since I'm not allowed to call you when I think of them. She says the reason she always complains is because she does not feel loved, and that if I just gave her more attention, she would stop being salty. No, you're a grown man.
Yeah, this
You
sounds
have-
like she's replacing you in place of your dad.
Bingo. She needs friends. Well, obviously she needs therapy.
Therapy and friends.
She needs therapy,
needs
but
to get out of the house.
she seems like she does not have a social life.
Yikes.
She does not talk to anybody else. The only way she talks or like socializes with someone, it seems like it is you or your brother. And she obviously lashes out at that main source. Not good. And she's not taking any accountability for, trying to manipulate you. When I tell her I do not want to call her, when she keeps whining about me not calling, she says she has a right to express her. She thinks her right to tell me the truth about how she feels is more important than my right not to have her emotional problems shoved onto me. She thinks that because I have gone to her with problems, she should be able to come to me with hers, since that is how relationships work. Only problem is, she is my mom. And as my girlfriend's parents say, your parents' problems are not your problems. It sounded foreign to me at first, but I have definitely become her emotional support dog, and she thinks she has the right to tell me everything. When I tell her this, she just gives me the same sarcastic answer as always. She sends random dramatic texts like, I miss you, and hearts out of nowhere, which she knows provokes me. She also tries to give me food and buy me things. Sure, it seems nice, but it feels like a desperate attempt to get me to like her and spend more time with her, and it always feels weird when I accept it. Every time I visit, she wants pictures of me. She says things like, you never visit, so all my photos of you are old, or asks me to smile for the camera. She posts pictures of me on Facebook without asking. When I ask her to take them down, she lashes out and says, why? Will you not let me enjoy anything? She keeps them up until I ask multiple times, and I often have to get mad before she will remove them. After trying to have structured contact for the last year, meaning I call on my conditions once a week, which she did not respect, she still continues to text me. She still talks about my dad and his girlfriend. I have to muster up a lot of energy to call her even though I do not want to. I do it for her since she wants me to, but it is painful and I end up giving short answers just to get through the conversation. She notices and gets annoyed that I'm not talking to her for real. I deny it and try to talk about the weather, hoping that eventually I will want to call her and she will behave normally. This culminated in me writing this post, and when I asked about my graduation coming up, I said that I expect no problem since my mom, my dad's girlfriend, my girlfriend's family, and everyone else will be there. I said, I want no drama. She replied that she does not think she will be able to be in the same room as my dad and his girlfriend, so she will see if she even shows up. She said I was cornering her and demanding she promise to behave. I said that it has been 13 years since the divorce, and she is a grown woman. I want her to put my happiness above her problems at my own graduation. She said I was unempathetic and could not see it from her point of view. She said she was betrayed by her old friend and cannot let that go. She said she would think about it and wasn't sure if she could behave around them. She also said the usual line about how I probably do not even want her at my graduation since I do not want to spend time with her otherwise. when you're like, hey, Mom, I want you at my graduation, but Dad's going to be there because I
Yeah.
love both of you
No,
because
if
you are my
she's-
parents.
If she's there and she's questioning, like, well, you're really kind of forcing me to behave, I'd be like, cool. So Dad's not complaining. So actually, I think him and his girlfriend are going to be the ones to come.
And then she's going to, oh, you love your dad and your dad's girlfriend more than me. I'm a terrible mother. I don't
And then I would be
deserve
like,
this."
yes, right now you are being terrible.
No,
So get
no,
your crap together
Stop
and you
it.
can come.
Stop.
Or else you can't come. Like, just lay it
Not
down.
real.
Jesus.
When I tell her all of this, it is like pouring gasoline on a fire when I think I'm pouring water. She becomes more upset and not more understanding. And by the way, I need you to understand that we have more episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime. This is my point of view. Her point of view is that after a rough divorce, her old friend started dating the father of her son, and she's losing contact with her son. She says, I do not call enough. She does not feel loved, and I do not acknowledge her feelings. She wants to be more involved in her children's lives. I feel partly responsible at times for not giving her more attention, since she is still my mother. She was a good mother when I was younger, as far as I remember, so please try not to see this from only my point of view. And that is the end of that story.
Your point of view is the only one that we got.
I mean, it's true. That is the only point of view we got.
And now he's going to say it louder for y'all.
No, I just agree with Carly. Carly's always right, guys. I mean, as an outside perspective.
I know. I'm kidding.
I know.
But yeah, I think you're doing great. I think you know what you have to do, and you're getting there.
I think especially when it comes to your graduation, if your mom is going to be this type of monster or, this type of just mental strain, it's your graduation. You're supposed to be having a good time. And, you tell her, hey, this is my graduation. I truly want you to be there. And I want this to be a celebration for me. And if you just going to be just dramatic and just starting stuff and making it just a headache for me and just ruining the vibe, I cannot have you there. You have to understand that. And if you cannot accept that as a truth of, you figuring it out, yeah, dad doing that to you, that sucks. You need to talk to a therapist about it. I am not your therapist. And, it's been 13 years after your divorce. Please get the help you need. I love you and I am only your son. But you are also my mother. You need to understand this relationship. Hopefully she will learn one day, but I don't think she is. So, OP, I know you're putting it on your back as like, I'm her son. I need to be there for her. At a point, it's just too much. Sooner or later, either she'll learn or your boundaries will be a full brick wall. So best of luck. Hopefully things work out for you in the best way. That is the end of that story. We have another one coming right up.
I told my father's girlfriend that she is not my parent.
You're not my parent.
That is exactly what they sounded like. I think this was a few days before Halloween. My sister, Georgia, 14 female, wanted to go to Ulta to get some stuff for their costume. I don't remember what exactly, probably makeup. And I, 13 female, decided to tag along. By the way, this comes from user Practical Peach 256 directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit yourself. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we know. So let us know what you know in the comments. And OP says, we were getting in the car, but as I was about to get in, I saw Georgia on my side of the car. Now, this seems selfish, but our whole lives we have sat in the exact same seats in the car, and it's just like a tradition. I told her to move over to her side so I could sit in my seat, but she didn't really want to. As this was going on, my dad tried to just drive away with the door open and me standing in front of it. Immediately, Georgia and I started yelling at him, asking why he did that. Georgia did move over, and we thought nothing of what happened because we are sisters and we squabble, like everyone. But as I sat down, my dad's girlfriend, Mindy, not sure of her age, started saying that what I did was childish and we shouldn't have yelled at my dad. This is where I feel I was sort of the a-hole. I started getting annoyed and said, I don't really care what you think because I don't even really like you and you are my mom. Georgia backed me up and said, yeah, you aren't our mom, so you don't really have a say on this. Mindy got pissed and started going off, saying, you know what? You two are brats, and I don't want to be in the same car as two brats. She kept going off, eventually got out, slammed the door, and walked away. My dad started backing her up, saying how we should be nicer because she is an important part of his life and he loves her. At this point, Georgia and I just stopped defending ourselves because he doesn't really listen to us anyway, and we didn't want to go through the hassle. He did drive us to Ulta because he promised, but he stayed in the car. When we finished and got back in the car, he said Mindy is staying at a hotel tonight because she doesn't feel comfortable staying in the house. Which, that's Mindy's fault. Let's be honest. Mindy, you got two teenage girls. They don't like you because you're not their mom. That's a fact. You're going to have to deal with that. So are you, Pops.
Yeah.
You
What
know?
can you do?
All you can do is try. But yeah. I assumed he expected us to say sorry and beg her to stay, but honestly, we didn't care because we didn't want her in the house. We got home and I guess she wasn't actually going to a hotel because she was still at the house and never left. A few days later, it was Halloween and nobody ever apologized. We were going over to our baby cousin's house because it was one of our cousin's birthdays on Halloween, and we always celebrated with them. Georgia had asked our dad not to bring Mindy because we really weren't comfortable with it, and she isn't related to the cousins either, and he promised he wouldn't bring her, so we thought nothing of it. Then, as we were getting into the car, we saw Mindy in there. Obviously, we were mad because he went against his promise and brought her anyway before we could back out. Georgia was not cool with this for good reason and decided to get out and go back inside. My dad drove off saying he was sad that Georgia wasn't coming because he wanted to be together as a family. I was pissed because this was his fault, but I just stayed quiet. Georgia decided to pack up and go to our mom's because they just didn't want to deal with this any longer. I was sitting in the car and Mindy started going off, saying she was glad Georgia wasn't coming and saying a bunch of mean stuff right in front of me. I texted Georgia, who was annoyed and sad she couldn't see our cousins because they were asking for her. Not much else happened that I remember, but a week or so later, my dad started cutting off all of our allowance and anything from him, saying he wouldn't stop until we apologized. Hey, buddy, check your girlfriend. I would say my girlfriend talking smack about my actual children is, like, kind of out of line.
Yeah, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that, girlfriend?
Like,
Stop it.
even if they are being, teenaged, adolescent girls, you have to be bigger than that, Mindy.
Yeah, they're still teenagers. You gotta kind of, I don't know, complaining a little bit, getting something off your chest, whatever, but like, at the end of the day, you're the adult here. You gotta lead with love. Come on.
We asked why Mindy wouldn't apologize first because we thought she was the most wrong. And he said she didn't want to apologize first and felt we should grow up and just apologize. Can I just say WTF? They want us, the children, to grow up, but not the actual grown adult. At some point, we all sat down and she apologized, saying she just felt mad that we were being mean to someone she loved and just wanted to protect him, our dad. We thought that was total BS, but just said the same thing back to her and went on our merry way. Also, for some background, our parents got divorced pretty quickly, and not even a month later, he started dating Mindy and asked if she could move in.
Wow.
Doesn't sound like Pops has the game plan set for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I said no, because what? But he asked if we could do a trial run for a week to see how I felt. I agreed to please him, but after the week, I still didn't feel comfortable, so I stuck to my word and said no. He said that was okay, and she wouldn't move in. I was glad about that. And you should always be glad to know that there are full episodes with stories like this you can listen to whenever you want on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime, and you've got them. And there is a little bit left to this story. Good little teenage nothing bomb.
Yeah, I think good for you, girl, for standing your ground. You're not giving in and living with Mindy anyway.
Yeah,
it worked.
At least your dad supported that, right?
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of crazy that your dad didn't check Mindy at all and be like, dude, don't literally, insult my children. I'll do that.
Right.
I'll do that. They're my kids. Let me insult them.
Come on.
You just gotta have to deal.
Especially after, knowing Mindy for a couple months or something. Or how far are we into their relationship now?
I'm not sure how long it's been, but they certainly got together very fast after the divorce.
Very fast.
So, when we left for our mom's house and came back, she was already moved in and staying there.
What?
Dad.
What?
I was rightfully pissed because he promised, but I don't really have a say, so I had to deal with it. Throughout this time, she started taking over the house. We weren't allowed to eat or touch anything of hers. Half the stuff we didn't even know was hers, and she even took over the guest/our grandma's room. And FYI, my grandma owns half the house and was not okay with this. And now she doesn't even feel comfortable visiting. She lives out of state. Even now, my dad will continuously choose Mindy over us and always takes her side.
Dang.
I wasn't totally sure what to put as the title, but I feel like this was the worst I did. I'll let you decide. Also, this happened quite a while ago, but I can't help thinking about whether I was in the wrong. No, it sounds like your dad's in the wrong, honestly,
Yeah,
for the most part.
You're literally 13. What would you have done wrong?
Just well, shut up, you're not even our mom, and blah, blah, blah. And it's yeah, of course you're saying that because she moved into the house and started,
Yeah.
not pretending she's your mom, but
Like, kind of.
she moved in the house, and you're like, I don't even like this person. I'm not ready to live with this person. Of course, you
Yeah.
guys don't get along. This is all your dad's fault.
Totally. Like, you really, like, if you could have done anything better, maybe if there's some sort of teenage angst that's in the mix, that can always, be improved. But from what we've heard, it doesn't sound like there's like enough of that to make you in the wrong here. There's all of this stuff that your dad and Mindy are doing that is wrong. You should not have moved her in. I hope you could stay at your mom's house just for a lot longer than you need to.
Yeah,
Or-
I hope that's would probably be for the best. But yeah, come on, Dad. What are you doing?
Come on, what are you doing? But that's the end of that story.
I want to leave my family, even though they'll lose everything.
Too bad, so sad.
I, 23 female, have been running my parents' business for the last 4 years. My parents, 52 female and 55 male, made some awful financial decisions during the vid, and I spent years cleaning up their mess. By the way, this comes from Top Control 8948. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I'm Angie.
And we are here to give some good advice, goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We'd only tell you what we would do in this situation, but we would love to know what you would do in the comments. About 2 years ago, they really screwed up, and I had to beg someone, let's call him Jim, for the chance to fix it. Without his help, my parents would have lost their house and basically everything they own. From that point, everything rested on me. Since then, I have been working 7 days a week, barely taking any time off, and getting paid under £1,800 a month. Meanwhile, my parents slowly stopped being involved because apparently I was more than capable. Even when I was completely burnt out, stressed to the point I could not eat or sleep, I kept going. I did it because I promised Jim I would make things right. I made that promise when I was 21, and I have kept it. Jim and I met earlier this year, and he said he was worried I was doing all this work for nothing since I do not actually own the business I am running. I brushed it off because they are my parents, and I genuinely believed they would not screw me over. I trusted them without question. Looking back now, that feels painfully naive. Fast forward to November. And Jim recently brought up the same concern again. I have been running this place solo for years, yet I still have no ownership, no proper pay, and no real acknowledgement. To make it worse, I recently found out my parents have been secretly taking around £3,000 a month out of the business. They did this behind my back without telling me and actively hid it from me. They only show up about 2 to 3 hours a week, yet they still make comments about how it's their business, not mine. That hurts, especially when I am the one running everything. I manage staff, deal with clients, handle suppliers, and carry all the stress that comes with it. They benefit from my work while distancing themselves from responsibility. We are planning to meet soon to discuss my options, and honestly, Jim has been one of the few people who has actually supported me through all this. He has listened when no one else has. He has acknowledged how much I have taken on. That support has meant more to me than I can properly explain. Now, here is where things get more complicated. My mom is harmful. I moved out recently, and it has done wonders for my mental health. It also made me realize something painful. I do not think they care about me at all. My dad excuses everything she does by saying, that's just how she is, or what do you expect? Maybe I expect protection instead of excuses. The silence from him hits almost as much as her behavior. So now I'm at a crossroads. I am seriously considering walking away from the business and going no contact with them completely. If I do, they will lose everything, the business, their home, all of it. They have made it clear they do not care about me or the work I have done. I keep asking myself why I am still breaking myself to keep a roof over their heads. The only thing holding me back is knowing they will lose everything if I leave. I do not have any other family. It is just them. They have never really let me live my own life, not even as a kid. From the age of 6, I was reasoning with them to keep them together, desperate for their approval. Would I be the a-hole for finally putting myself first and walking away, even if it means they lose everything? Well, I don't think that you would be the a-hole because you're not really getting stuff out of this, and it's actually hurting you rather than helping, I think, for you at least. Obviously, it's helping them, but they're not really doing anything, and they're just putting everything on you. So I don't think you're the a-hole if you want to leave. I do think you would be the a-hole if you just completely just left and said nothing. I think there needs to be like maybe a transition talk and being like, listen, I think that I'm done with this. I'll give you a month or 2 to find someone, you know,
Yeah.
like giving them time to like figure it out.
I think that's, if you're really worried about, like leaving them with nothing and knowing that like if you leave, they will have nothing, then, maybe come up with an action plan. Time for an update. When I thought things could not get worse, my mom went through my personal things and found a letter I wrote when I was really struggling. This did not go down well. She started blowing my phone up at 3 a.m. with text messages and phone calls. To note, the letter was written because of her, and at that point, I was in a very bad place. I got myself out of it, but her reaction makes me feel sick.
Oh boy.
It is all about her, not about the fact her 23-year-old daughter was feeling that way. It is all about how she looks like a bad mom and how I hurt her feelings. Maybe do not open a sealed envelope that does not have your name on it. This has made me want to cut contact even more. I could not imagine treating someone like that. I honestly do not know if I will be able to wait 2 weeks. My dad, of course, says nothing to defend me and does not even seem bothered that she's treating me this way. Update number 2, 9 days later. Another update, mostly because I just need to not feel completely alone right now. First of all, thank you for all the advice. I see Jim in a week. The hardest thing I am trying to grasp is that this is not going to magically fix anything. He might be someone I know and someone I try to trust, but he is not a knight in shining armor coming to save me. I have been excluded from everything and uninvited from family weddings and events. My mother is succeeding in her attempts to completely isolate me. My brother was always someone I thought would understand both sides. However, my mother accidentally sent a screenshot of a text he sent her while I was a spoiled brat who deserves the world and that I only care about my inheritance. What inheritance? They have made it very clear I will never own the business despite the amount of work I am putting in. That's okay. Leave.
Get out of there.
I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. I really did.
Right.
But now they're like, who are they going to leave the business to? The son who has not even like done nothing.
Yeah, that's like a partner saying like, oh my God, you're just with me because you're such a gold digger. And it's like, I've been paying for everything that we've been doing. Who's the gold digger here? Like, who are you talking to?
Yeah, this is okay. So,
dude, screw them over. And honestly, like, I want to say like screw them over by leaving, but that's not even screwing them over. Like, it wouldn't even be your fault. You were just going to find another job, which is such a common thing in business.
That everyone does.
Business is just, that's how it is. It's not personal. Even if you're friends, even if you're family, if you need to leave, you need to leave. That's just how it is. So if it falls apart, it's because of them and because they have a bad system. So just let them fall apart on their own.
Literally.
Screw those guys.
I really thought my dad was better. I texted him a few days ago and told him I was really struggling and that I needed him. He replied with, "Not now, your mom is upset." I messaged him back and said, "Forget it." But I made sure he knew that I know exactly where I stand in this family. I am not ready to walk away yet, but I will be doing so. I am just not sure how. The business still owes a small amount of money to the company Jim works for. It was $250,000 and now is under $20,000, but that will still take 2 to 3 months. It is not my responsibility, but I have come too far to give it up now. I want to see it fully paid off because everyone told me I could not do it and that it was impossible. I am almost there. This is about my integrity more than anything else. I have decided that I have 3 routes. First is opening my own business, but I do not have the financial backing. The second is maybe working for Jim. The third is to keep working, save every penny I have, and move somewhere far away, never speaking to anyone I currently know again. Jim could be the exception, but I am honestly not sure. I feel so isolated and completely alone. Whose first reaction to finding out their child was struggling with those thoughts is, how effing dare you? I'm trying to keep my head down, but all I can think is that I am far too young to be dealing with this. I'm grieving the childhood I never had, and I am grieving the loss of my family. The hardest part is trying to understand if maybe I am the issue. None of my family wants anything to do with me, and I must be partially to blame. I do not know. I will update again in about a week. Thank you for being so supportive. And there is another update.
Oh my gosh, wow. I really hope this ends with OP being like, yeah, I found another job. I'm doing great. I'm moved out.
Yeah.
Or if they're even living together, I don't know. And then they're falling apart.
Decided I'm not the a-hole for about to go no contact with my parents, even though they'd lose everything. This is not the update I expected. I had a good meeting with Jim, but essentially I was asked to tough it out for a few more months until they can help me with a proper plan. We spoke about everything and I said I could last a few more months, but I need more support.
It has been 2 weeks and there has been no support. I feel very hurt and lost. I'm going to give it a little more time, but the fact that support was the only thing I asked for and I am not getting it makes me very doubtful of intentions. He did say that if I chose to walk away, no one would blame me, but they would not be able to fully support me. I do not know if this is because of how toxic things have been with my life so far, but I really struggle to trust people, and this is making things worse. I know if the lack of support continues, I will eventually shut down to all of them. When I do that, I will not open back up. I feel like they do not understand the gravity of the situation despite me being completely honest about how miserable I feel about certain things and feelings I have. By the way, we'll never make you feel miserable because you can go on over and listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just type in OK Storytime. And then you'll be filled with happiness and joy and wonderful thoughts.
Yep.
I have essentially cut my parents off and hardly speak to them, but I am still being guilt-tripped daily. I am ignoring the messages. I have made it clear that I will only discuss work situations. As annoyed as they are, I can see they are only annoyed because they are not controlling me. I still feel very lost and incredibly alone, but I am trying my best to get through it. At the same time, I am saving every penny I can so that if I need to make a break with no help from Jim or anyone else, I will be able to do so without relying on anyone. I'm going to phone my doctor's surgery and try to get some therapy too. Thank you everyone for the suggestions and support. That's the end of that story. I mean, OP, you got to get out. I know it's the hardest thing and change, is really hard.
Yeah.
But it seems like this is the only way you will be happy again, that you will be able to take control of your life because they've controlled you for so long. It's just all you know? Now it's your time to, press back and be like, listen, no. I'm going to stick up for myself. I'm going to get a backbone. I'm going to form boundaries and I'm going to work on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think therapy will definitely help you with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I protected my sister-in-law and my brother walked out.
He should be protecting her too.
Around March of last year, I, male 25, was able to buy my own home at a pretty young age, at least for today's standards, with the money I made from an editing job I have. I worked hard straight out of college and have made a really decent life for myself. I'm gay, but pretty sure I'm A-spec identity and not interested in kids or a relationship, so the house is just strictly mine for now. By the way, this comes from NoSelf2447, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
We're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my older brother, 31 male, on the other hand, isn't so lucky and fell into some pretty hard times earlier this year. In June, my brother lost his job, and as a direct result of this, would not be able to pay rent anymore. His wife, 32 female, was pregnant at the time, so I allowed them to move in with me, knowing the baby would live here for some time after arriving. My mother, 58 female, and I have a complicated relationship. We didn't speak for 3 years after I came out, and I'm typically not invited to family gatherings or holidays anymore. This doesn't bother me, and I am glad to have her out of my life. Once again, on the opposite side of me is my brother, who absolutely adores my mom and does everything she says. Despite my successes, I've never been enough for her, and was done trying to be a long time ago. One day, while I was sitting in my kitchen drinking some coffee, my brother approaches me and asks if she can come stay with us for extra support. I said no, but I could tell they needed it, so I changed my mind. The first and immediate red flag was when she first arrived. My mom has always been obsessed with circumcision. I don't know why, but she's always talked down on people who don't snip their babies, and that logic applied to my brother. There wasn't a conversation that would go by without her mentioning it to my brother. What? My brother and his wife ultimately made the choice to not circumcise, and she was utterly livid. She packed her bags and left for a couple of weeks.
Oh my gosh. Who did she lose to a non-circumcised peepee?
Right?
Who passed
Who
away?
Which uncircumcised peepee hurt her?
Yeah.
Once again, was extremely glad she left, but it wouldn't last. She came back 3 weeks later with books, pamphlets, and all sorts of wacky sources as why my brother just ruined his son's life.
Oh my god.
How he'll never find anyone now and that they're horrible parents.
Okay, so that's the reason that he'll never find anyone?
That's insane.
That, oh my gosh, no one's gonna want to look or touch a uncircumcised pee-pee.
Oh, she didn't stop at this.
Oh no.
The formula the baby drank, the diapers the baby was wearing, the toys, dang, even his clothes were all being dictated to by our mom. She had control over everything, and I could see how it was destroying my brother's wife from the inside. One day she was talking through skipping vaccinations with my brother's wife, practically demanding she didn't vaccinate him.
Oh my gosh.
She was on the verge of tears, and I'd had enough. I went upstairs, I packed her suitcase, and told her to get the F out and not to come back this time. She blocked us on everything. We haven't heard from her in 6 weeks, but my brother thinks I was too hard on her and that she was just trying to help. Was I? I think I did the right thing, but maybe it was just her weird way of helping. Would appreciate any comments.
This is a crazy story.
It's a crazy story.
Jeez.
No, honestly, like, this, oh my god. I can understand her having, like, sure, whatever, you're gonna be annoying, you're gonna have, like, diaper recommendations.
Sure.
This kind of recommendation, for sure.
Yeah.
As soon as we're getting into, like, medical recommendations,
Mhm.
no. Out. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Not your kid.
And if she's at the point of tears with this, it's like, what
Right.
is she watching? And like, who is she listening to? What videos are she watching
my
that's like got her
God.
so scared of vaccinations
What? I don't
and
get this.
uncircumcised peepees?
Oh my god. I don't know.
I don't know,
know, dude.
man.
I think you did right in getting her out of there. She sounds
yeah,
cuckoo.
yeah.
Comments. Comment 1. Sounds like you're proven to be a genius for cutting contact when she arrived. I'm sorry for how toxic your mom is. You're definitely reacting appropriately. Punting her out is an increase in quality of life. Your brother doesn't get it, and I'm sorry for that too. You've been very generous. I also want to mention your mom did nothing good to try to heal your relationship with her at all for years. Given a great second chance to come over to your place too, and she causes a fire? She doesn't care, and that's sad. So messy and good riddance. Comment 2, you're a saint for considering how this is impacting your sister-in-law. Your bro needs to get his head out of mommy's butt before he loses his wife. He didn't have this kid to be your mom's do-over. She's not the third parent. She does not get a say. These choices are between kid's mom and dad and nobody else. He needs to focus on wife and kid, not mommy's happiness. We have an update. Unfortunately to say, a lot of you guys were right about my brother. After an argument about Christmas broke out last night, he left with a full suitcase, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him all morning.
What?
He left the wife, or just they both left?
I don't know, but I'm gonna need more information on this argument.
Let's see. For more context.
Thank you.
My brother had regained contact with our mother without telling me and had basically been planting the seeds on reintroducing her again by suggesting I was too hard on her. Some people saw right through this as well. Around a day after the original post was made, the idea of allowing her to come into my home for Christmas was first mentioned, which was instantly shut down by me and sister-in-law. Angry at this, he lashed out and left to a bar. Last night, he tried to start the same argument again, and once it didn't go away, he stormed out with most of his things and hasn't come back since.
What?
My sister-in-law has gone in full shutdown and has locked herself in the bedroom upstairs. The baby is fine and is with me and his grandma on sister-in-law's side. And by the way, you guys can always stay with me and listen to more full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Oh my god. Wow.
He definitely ran right to his mother's house.
Totally.
Oh my god. I can't,
Like terrible.
oh my god, the mom got to him that much.
I guess so. And this is just blowing my mind because, like, I mean, I'm assuming this baby was planned. It might not have
Yeah.
been, but, like, I would hope that these people would talk about this pretty important stuff in a child's life, like, before having the baby. Like,
oh my god.
I'm hoping that they, like, this couple talked about all of this stuff beforehand and
Right?
agreed on it.
And did it not come up like, oh, and by the way, my mom's like super anti,
right.
or no, super
Yeah.
pro circumcision
Yeah.
and super anti-vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, woo,
pretty
probably something we
huge.
should bring up.
And just
Scary.
so crazy that like if they did agree on it at first,
Right.
did it really take
Did the
that
mom
little
get there?
convincing
Right?
for him to just do a full 180?
Oh my god, I wonder what else she's been telling him.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oof.
I don't know if my brother ran straight back to our mom or is staying with a friend, but I know for sure he didn't go to our dad's house. He's my brother, and I wanted to see the best in him, but the last couple of months he's really let me down. And this is kind of the icing on the cake. Sister-in-law has been told she's welcome with me for as long as she wants. If he does come back, I don't know if she'll take him back this time. This time?
Wow. Yeah, what? Has there been
Whoa.
more to this relationship?
Oh my god, that is so sad.
In like terrible timing.
Oh
You
my
just
God,
had
you
a child.
Just had a baby.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
You better come back and absolutely beg at her feet.
Yeah. Kiss the ground she's walking on. Cut off your mother-in-law.
Yeah, don't, at least you and sister-in-law have like a head on their shoulders of like,
Yeah.
she is not coming back.
Yeah. Good.
Wild.
Oh my god.
But that's the end of that story.
My dad's fiance sent my boyfriend rules after Thanksgiving and it changed us.
Rule number 1, you can't date her anymore.
I ruined Thanksgiving without trying context. I'm a man, gay, with a boyfriend who I intend to marry. I come from a very toxic family. My boyfriend is from the Middle East. My dad just recently got engaged. By the way, this comes from Delicious Tap 1626, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in these situations, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, one of the few people I trust and talk to about my is my great aunt, and in the tense climate of coming out to my family, my great grandparents were the first to vehemently disapprove of my lifestyle. They took their anger out on my great aunt, who they accused of turning me gay for having gay friends herself. As a result of this mess, my great grandparents won't speak to my great aunt or her daughter, who also has been supportive. My dad wanted to host Thanksgiving and had it elaborately planned out with an itinerary of the food that was to be cooked. My boyfriend is an avid cook and initially wanted to make scalloped potatoes and told my dad so, whereby my dad redirected him to my brother, who my dad put in charge of coordinating with family members who wanted to bring extra food. My dad was also fine with him cooking alongside my dad's cooking as well. As planning went on, my boyfriend told my brother that he also wanted to make rolls with goat cheese on the side. The day before Thanksgiving dinner, me and my boyfriend decided to stay the night at my dad's house. As we're putting our bags away in my bedroom, my dad's fiance wanted to show us her wedding ring. We looked at it and commented how pretty it was, and my boyfriend asked her what the band of the ring is made out of. My soon-to-be mother-in-law replied that it was 14-karat gold, to which my boyfriend responded, "Oh good, then it won't rust." In hindsight, he meant to say tarnish because rings don't typically rust. Neither one of us gave it a second thought, and we went about the night. The next day, my dad and his fiancée were cooking all morning in the kitchen. Me and my boyfriend joined in later in the morning to cook the food my boyfriend wanted to make. Families started arriving to celebrate the holiday until noon, when the dinner was set to be held. I love that, because that is dinner on holidays. Noon is dinner.
Noon is dinner.
Noon is dinner.
Dinner then snack.
Yeah, exactly. The dinner was postponed until 10 minutes later because the rolls and potatoes we were making took longer than the rest of the food that my dad prepared. Other than that, everyone had a good time at my dad's Thanksgiving dinner. The next day, my boyfriend was sent a lengthy text message from my dad's fiance stating, among other things, he was disrespectful about the ring comment. My boyfriend took too long with cooking. It's rude to ask if there was food in the pantry. They had to go out in the freezing cold to cook Brussels sprouts on a grill because our cooking took too much space. She said that making more than one dish was wrong. She set rules for my boyfriend to limit his cooking. She said he needed to ask permission for things and what to cook, and if he could cook. My boyfriend profusely apologized to her and tried to explain to her his version of events and invited her to a phone call, to which she replied nothing. She said was non-negotiable. My dad texted, emailed, called me about how disrespectful me and my boyfriend have been to them in the past. I too had to follow the humiliation ritual of apologizing to their grievances. After all of this, my dad went to my aunt/great-grandparents to tell them his version of events that took place. This set off my great aunt, who sent my boyfriend a lengthy text of rules to adhere to when around my family, finishing with, "I do hope you either learn or go away." Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is crazy.
This is wild.
It took a long while for me to not have my boyfriend retaliate against my aunt with all that had happened, and for me to call her to explain how she wasn't helping. In between all of this, my boyfriend accused me of not supporting him in all of this, how I didn't do enough to defend him, and instead agreed with my family about how my boyfriend was in the wrong. We are still arguing about this. I agree with some of what my family said, but I still support my significant other. My boyfriend can be very direct and is still being accustomed to life in America, so I'm not expecting him to understand everything. At the same time, I have brought shame onto my family for the disrespect against my parents. My boyfriend has since taken a vow of silence to my entire family and will neither cook nor stay the night at my dad's house. To quote the great Robin Williams, "In this country of Neanderthals, I wear it as an effing badge of honor." I am apparently the only man and intellectual enough to understand the effing concept of nuance in my family. All of this was a big misunderstanding and manipulation sting set by my parents that have successfully turned everyone against me. And you would be successful in listening to full episodes with stories just like this one if you just go to your Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or other favorite podcast platform and search OK Storytime. Successful 10 times out of 10.
Oh, yes.
And there is a little bit more to the story, but okay.
Okay.
A lot just happened.
A lot happened.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of really dramatic family members just being like,
Yeah, exactly.
like, I could understand needing an apology for some of the things, or maybe
Yeah.
just like a acknowledgement of like, hey, like, yeah, sorry that happened like that. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be better about it next time. But
Right.
like, even so, it wasn't anything that really super needed that.
Yeah, no, it didn't seem like that to me. I mean,
Yeah.
everything that was mentioned, like, I would love for OP to clarify what he thinks is, like, disrespectful. You know?
Like, I could understand the ring.
Sure.
I could see that being like, if they're really dramatic people that are like constantly like, you need to apologize. Like, yeah, they're gonna get mad about the ring.
Yeah.
And I could maybe understand annoyance of like, we literally had to cook outside
Sure.
because you guys took too much space cooking.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't believe that they had to do that. I feel like it was
Yeah.
just like petty.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And, like, OP said that it was literally just, like, 10 minutes late.
Right.
10 minutes late for cooking?
The 10 minutes part, fine. I want to know
Yeah.
why they had to go cook on a grill outside in the
Yeah.
cold.
I know. I don't understand that either, especially, like, if the brother was supposed to be, like, setting everything up and
Right.
coordinating, like, who's cooking what. Like,
Are we
shouldn't
not
that have
back to
been
the
planned?
brother? Like,
Right,
why did
yeah.
the brother plan it? What's happening? I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't know. If the meal is set to be had at 12 and it is actually had at 12:10, that, like, is early to me.
Yeah, I
Like,
think we're good.
every time that my family has a meal, it's always so late because
Yeah.
it's just like so much is being made by like 2 people. And so, yeah, it's like that 10 minutes late to me is like not late at all. But we have a little bit more to this story. I wish my mother was alive to see this and call everyone on their BS because I'm apparently too much of a wuss to do so. Every day I wake up and I am reminded of how I failed in my duties to protect my boyfriend. The worst part is, even if I turn around and tell my family they have it wrong, the ship has already sailed for them to change their minds. So I cannot effectively prove to my boyfriend that I have changed the minds of my family. I have successfully found myself disliked by the man that I intend to marry and looked down upon by my family. I effing hate the holiday season. I need advice. Please help. And there are some comments. Your family set your boyfriend up to fail over nothing. Ring rust? Cooking timing after your dad coordinated it? and you threw him under the bus by apologizing for him.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
about it.
wow. Okay.
That's all we've got.
I tried to limit my grandmother's access to my life, but it backfired.
Seems like she didn't want an information diet.
And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit.
Oh!
This is likely going to be a long one, but I'll try to keep it as concise as possible. I, 33 female, and my husband, 35 male, are expecting our second child.
Yes!
Congrats.
Children!
Yay! It's been a long road to get here, but today I might have effed up.
Uh-oh.
Am I the a-hole, and what do I do now? By the way, this comes from Last Faithfulness 434, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And we haven't been through all of these situations ourselves. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. So OP says, in order to give you the full context of the story, I have to back up a few years. Growing up, my grandmother, 70-something female, was pretty involved in my childhood as far as I can remember. As I got older, I started to notice her animosity towards her ex-husband, my grandfather, and his wife, who I also call my grandma. They had been divorced since before I was born, and my grandpa remarried when I was maybe 4 or 5, so I found this strange. As time had gone on, my grandmother has become increasingly distant from the entire family. It started small by claiming to be sick on days of events like birthday parties for my younger cousins, and arranging alternate times to see them. More recently, it got to a point where she's been skipping bigger events like weddings and graduations, and the family would genuinely be surprised to see her, even though she's always invited. What is especially strange is that this family is incredibly tight-knit, and she has slowly backed away like Homer Simpson backing through the bushes. This distance has also expanded to her amount of contact with the family. She often won't return calls or messages, and she is rarely the first to reach out. When she does reach out, if you respond, you typically don't get a response back. It's like she'll go through the motions to send a text on a special occasion, but doesn't want the effort of a conversation or real connection.
Kinda wants to be your grandma.
She's like, I just want the title.
And she seems like she's doing like legit the bare minimum to keep it.
The one thing she will do is Facebook.
Yay! Because
she's
that's
just
easy and fun.
And she gets the public acknowledgement that she's a grandma.
And there's so many fun games on Facebook.
But not in a stay genuinely connected sort of way. More like a, look at me, I'm such an amazing grandma kind of way. Very performative with no real connection. She will heart react, leave GIF comments with no words, and take your pictures to post on her own page. My son is currently her cover photo. She also posted about when I was in labor, but couldn't be bothered to respond to a message I had sent her while I was laboring in a hospital. Thankfully, she took that post down at my mom's request. Speaking of my son, she met him once when he was a newborn. He's about to turn 3. Her visit was unannounced and, quite frankly, very awkward. The one thing I remember was her being passive-aggressive about my newborn baby using a pacifier.
Well, seems like it can't feed right now. What else am I supposed to do?
Why are you so upset about the pacifier? She yelled at him and said, "Oh," his name. "You don't need that. That's yucks." He probably does need that because he's a baby.
Let the baby be.
I remember thinking, you never come around. Couldn't even be bothered to send a card for the baby shower, but now you're criticizing my parenting? That's yucks. Ever since that visit almost 3 years ago, my grandmother has continued even less contact than before. She has never once reached out to ask how my son is doing. She sends her performative happy birthday or Merry Christmas texts about how much she misses us, is proud of us, yada, yada, yada. But the second you respond and try to start a conversation, crickets. She also went from living in the same city as my uncles and younger cousins to moving out of state. Meanwhile, she's doing the most on Facebook, heart reacting every single post, making her GIF comments, and stealing the pictures she wants to share for her own audience, who is blissfully unaware of her absence.
In some ways, this means more than actually being there.
Yeah, in some ways, this is actually so much better, and I don't think you realize that, OP.
You get the presence of a grandma online and not in real life. I think you don't understand what you have here.
Sometimes this is done with her profile. Sometimes this is done on her boyfriend's profile. There was also a second profile of hers that I had deleted because I was certain it was inactive. This will be important later. On one of the pictures she shared of my child, her boyfriend commented saying, "You're such an amazing great-gram." I'm sorry, but my child doesn't even know who either of them are, which is by her doing? He's not going to remember a visit from when he was a newborn. This has me feeling like her social media is nothing but performative, and she no longer has any real desire for connection. To make it really clear, I went through my phone recently to try to find the last time she and I had a real conversation. We haven't had a phone call in years, and the last time she reached out to me was a year and a half ago. She wished me a happy new year. I tried to engage her in conversation, and she never responded. She also never responded to a happy birthday message I sent her later in the year.
What?
And as Porky Pig once said, that's all, folks.
Where's Dakota?
That's all, folks.
That's how does he do it?
That's all, folks.
Fast forward to yesterday. We had our first ultrasound. I have struggled with infertility and early miscarriages in the past, so I kept our news pretty quiet until we had confirmation that baby was healthy and viable. Few things the doctor wants to keep an eye on this time around due to the complications with the pregnancy and birth of our son, but nothing alarming at all. We got some ultrasound pictures to take home, and we're happy as can be. When I got home, some anxiety came about making an announcement. I was excited to share our news, but I didn't want my grandmother's performative energy interfering. I decided after a lot of consideration to limit her and her boyfriend from seeing the post. Yeah, they just repost it and they're like, I'm so happy that I have another grandchild that I'm going to see every day.
Her likes are about to look slim because of that information diet you're getting her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's up.
I had already been living them from the other posts that felt more personal. It has helped me protect my peace with the situation lately. With support from my family, I drafted the post, created a couple cute images, tagged my husband, and posted. The comments and support came rolling in from extended family, friends, and coworkers. I went to sleep feeling relieved that we were able to finally share this news with the people who are present in our lives. At 1 a.m., first trimester, insomnia came like clockwork. I checked my phone because what else do you do at 1 a.m.? And my heart sank. Remember that inactive second profile I mentioned earlier? The one I deleted from my friends list, assuming it was a passed away profile? Well, it was wrong. Not only is it active, but it is apparently friends with my husband. There was a comment that said, so happy for you, XX. I panicked.
Uh-oh.
My lizard brain came out in response to the abandonment trauma, and I deleted the comment without even thinking about it. I should have just left it and pretended it got lost in the sea of comments, but my snap judgment brain was like, nope, let's stir this pot, because now she's gonna see it's deleted. What do? Do I do nothing? Do I pretend I didn't even see it? It was 1 a.m. and normal people would be sleeping. Do I reach out? Do I wait for her to reach out, inevitably pissed? Do I give blatant honesty about why the main profile's access is limited in the first place? Do I even owe her the explanation? She has a tendency to deliberately create distance, but then also react in a really ugly way when she feels left out. For example, it was a big deal when my grandpa, her ex-husband, passed, and she wasn't specifically named in the obituary. Can't do much about that, he's gone. So big drama from her ensued. Then it really upset her that we all stayed close with my grandpa's second wife, who I also call Grandma, which I think is the catalyst that led to even less contact than before. And I'm so on edge about that type of drama being even in the realm of possibility surrounding this pregnancy.
And I think you have to keep as much peace for this pregnancy.
Yeah.
Cut her out completely.
Yeah, just stop responding to her. Information diet. She's already not there.
Yeah, true. Also, is she getting money off of these posts?
Yeah, they're monetized. I was so careful about drawing quiet boundaries, and now I feel like it's blowing up in my face. Am I the a-hole? Am I overreacting? Help! And there is an update, but what do you think?
You know what you got to do. This grandma just wants to be there virtually and not there physically. She's made her choice. She has, and she continues to make it. Just, people have consequences for their actions, and sometimes your actions are the consequences of others.
And her consequences are that she can't see your kid anymore. Or you. Thank you, everyone, for your responses so far. I thought I was overreacting, but it is validating to see that many feel similarly to me about boundaries with toxic absent family members. By the way, we don't want any boundaries. We want you to listen to full episodes of stories just like this all the time. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
Nope. Cut her out.
About an hour after I posted this, Grandma went back onto her main account, and Heart reacted to a couple trivial posts I have made over the last couple of weeks, including a silly meme about cheese. I realized this was more than likely an attempt to get my attention. almost as if to say, here's what I can see on one profile, and here's what I can see on the other. At this point, I opted to do nothing unless she reaches out. If she reaches out, I will be direct and honest about the boundaries I've established and why. If she doesn't, then I'm not going to go out of my way to announce them to her. Sometime between now and the birth, I will also make a point to block the old profile. Until then, I'm not going to give any sort of attention to her internet antics unless she goes way out of line. And that's the end of the story.
Wow.
Dang, dang, dang. I think that is the right move, OP, and good luck to ya.
Good luck.
But that's also the end of this episode.
Yep.
So,
OP, real quick, let us know how it goes, and we want to see pictures of the baby.
oh yeah, this is one of our own. Let us know.
If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
see you tomorrow.
I hung up on my mother-in-law because she berated my wife after giving birth.
Yeah, keep sending her to voicemail.
And trigger warning for emotional and verbal abuse. Me, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 24 female, just had our first son. He was born with some slight but not serious complications, which landed him in the NICU for a few days. Thankfully, everything's fine now, and we have him back in our arms. By the way, this comes from Switch665. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We're just going to guess what we would do in the situation. So let us know what you would do in the comments. So OP says, while he was in the NICU, we hadn't finalized a name yet. We had one picked out, but my girlfriend changed her mind at the last minute, which was totally fine with me. I went to visit our son, and when I came back, my girlfriend was on FaceTime with her mother. Her mom was screaming at her for not having named the baby yet. What? My girlfriend was already exhausted and emotional, so I hung up the call to stop her mom from stressing her out even more. That made her mom furious. Well, sure, but whatever. She started texting me, calling me a dumb butt, but with the actual naughty word.
Oh, no.
And other names. I showed the messages to my girlfriend, and we both realized that until her mom apologized, she wouldn't be allowed to see the baby. For some background, I've always been respectful to her mom, but over time I've seen how controlling, self-absorbed, and emotionally harmful she can be towards my girlfriend. I've built up a lot of resentment watching how she treats her. She also loves to remind me that since my girlfriend and I aren't married yet, I supposedly have no say in anything, including our own child. Her husband has echoed that too, saying I have no right to say that she can't see her grandbaby. Later, her whole family showed up at the hospital. Her mom tried to ignore me and just pushed past to see the baby. I was feeding our son, so my girlfriend went out to talk to her. She told her mom that she couldn't see the baby until she apologized. During that time, my girlfriend's sister, 27 female, and brother, 17 male, were in the room with us. Her mom called the brother and told him he had to leave, then called the sister and said if she didn't leave too, she would abandon her. The sister had flown in from town just to meet the baby. Basically, since she couldn't get her way, she didn't want anyone else to have the chance either. Eventually, they left and came back later asking to talk. Her mom explained herself, but it was really just her blaming me for hanging up on her. The sister jumped in saying I should apologize. Then her mom started yelling again, so I told her she wasn't seeing her grandson and walked away. Her husband was standing there the whole time trying to look intimidating, but I ignored him. When I said she couldn't see the baby, he told me I was being disrespectful. He was so upset that he refused to even hold his first grandson just because I wouldn't let his wife see him. I found that really sad. Now, to be fair, my girlfriend's mom did recently lose her father a couple weeks ago. Oh, wow. That's pretty recent.
Very soon.
That does change things. I do understand she's grieving and going through a lot emotionally, but the truth is she's always been like this, even before her dad passed away. This isn't new behavior. She's always been manipulative, controlling, and quick to lash out when things don't go her way. Her loss might have made things worse, but it didn't create the problem. And honestly, grief doesn't excuse calling people names or acting out like a child. Everyone deals with pain differently, but it doesn't give you the right to disrespect others, especially when we're all trying to focus on a newborn and healing. For the record, I've never wanted to cut them out or keep them from being involved. I'm big on grandparents being around, so I value that bond deeply. But being involved doesn't mean I have to tolerate being insulted. At the end of the day, if someone is calling me names and disrespecting me, that's a boundary I have to set. My girlfriend agrees with me completely. She said the same thing. If her mom gets away with calling me names now, it will just become a habit. All we asked for was an apology, and it would have been done. But instead, she talks about respect nonstop, yet the first chance she gets, she disrespects both of us. She expects an apology, but will never give one herself. Even my girlfriend's grandmother, her mom's own mother, said I did the right thing and that my girlfriend's mom is out of line. That meant a lot to me because it shows that even her own family can see how she behaves. Honestly, I don't want to give her the satisfaction of acting like this is all okay. I'm willing to move forward if she just apologizes, but I'm not backing down from being treated like I'm nothing. So am I the a-hole for hanging up on my girlfriend's mom and refusing to let her see the baby until she apologizes? And we do have some comments, but what do you think?
No,
Yeah.
this is how mother-in-law's always been, and
Yeah.
it's like she's just pushing it and pushing it. I think that it's probably good that there was this point where you guys hit like, no, like you need to apologize
Yeah.
this time, or there's like an actual consequence that we're
Right.
holding.
Right, because I mean, you have a kid now, so now
Yeah.
it's obviously you deserve the respect, and she shouldn't be yelling like that around you, but especially not around the kid.
Right.
And you know that she's not going to stop just because it's a kid. Like she's
Exactly.
gonna be holding the baby, yelling at you guys.
Right.
And it's like we can't. This baby was just born. We don't need to
Right.
start this trauma right away.
She already was right outside the hospital
Yeah.
room. Like it's like, come on, you couldn't
Literally.
even. It's crazy.
We haven't brought the baby home yet, and
Yeah.
you're already yelling around him.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna affect them so poorly, and you just can't do that. But we do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole. Your girlfriend has more than likely been exposed to this behavior and abuse her entire life. And what you're doing now is breaking that generational cycle so your baby doesn't have to experience this dysfunction or potentially grow up thinking this behavior is normal and okay. I have the same mother as your mother-in-law, and my family, husband and kids, are low contact with boundaries and things in place. And the moment she steps out of line, we deliver a consequence for the behavior. My husband and I are very united in this. You not letting your mother-in-law around the baby is merely a consequence for her misbehavior and disrespecting boundaries and disrespecting you. OP says she has been experiencing the abuse her whole life. It's hard for her, especially since her mother is turning the whole family against her. Comment number 2 says this started over a son's name weeks after her dad passed away. So did she want your wife to name your son after her grandfather? Not the a-hole. OP says no, she just wanted a name to put on shirts. And once we did have a name, she didn't even make the shirts. I forgot this whole thing was about the name in the first place.
Right.
Someone responded, I wasn't named for a month. My mother was sick and my dad wasn't able to register it without her. I'm fine, and everyone survived without making t-shirts. Good Lord, your mother-in-law is an a-hole. Commenter number 3 says, not the a-hole. Your girlfriend's mom doesn't really mean respect. She means unquestioning obedience. Anything less than that, and she will become angry and start hurling insults. You cannot force her to stop. Only she can do that. You can only tell her what the consequences are for violating the rules and then enforce them. That's exactly what you did. That's what a healthy boundary is. Someone responds, yep, just tell her no one owes you obedience and we will not be complying with your ridiculous requests from yourself or via others. You seem to have misunderstood your power in this situation. We will decide who gets to interact with our son and how. Tell the rest of the family you have your rules, and if they can't follow them like mother-in-law, they also won't be welcome. Make them choose between the quiet life or mother-in-law's enforced madness. Once they see there is another option, her power starts to slip. All it takes is one crack in the dam. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law will be the first to go. They already want to. And there is an update. And yeah, honestly, that's a good point, I think.
Yeah. Other people will start to see pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Because the brother-in-law and sister-in-law obviously were, with her in this in a way, but it feels like it's just because they're the daughters or the kids of this
It
crazy
felt
person.
way more just like, okay, well, I'm not going to get abandoned at the hospital. Like, I have to
Right.
get home somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to get home, and like this is my mom, and if
Right.
they grew up with it, then they probably are used to kind of giving in
Yeah.
like that. So I don't really blame them, but hopefully, yeah, if you set this boundary, then others will follow.
I think so.
And see like, oh shoot, we can do that. No way.
What?
But there is an update. So Since posting things have gotten even messier. That's what we love to see. The family is basically shunning us at this point. My girlfriend's older sister, who had come down with her daughter to help my girlfriend with the baby for a week, is now on the edge too. Her daughter is being used as a pawn in all of this. My mother-in-law told her she won't watch her granddaughter at all if she goes over to our house to stay for the week. Oh my gosh. Now the threats are going towards the sister?
What?
This feels like I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones recently. If that's what it feels like. Here's like, well, if you give money to the Lannisters, then I will not give you an army. I don't know. Whatever they do on that show.
Over naming the baby, who probably has
yeah.
a name by now.
Yeah, he does.
He
And
does.
she didn't make the shirts.
Ah!
My goodness. But you can watch full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more story. Now, the sister has sided with her mom, and they're all comparing me to the sister's husband, who also saw through the mother-in-law's nonsense. The difference is he never actually stood his ground and said mother-in-law couldn't see his kid. Apparently, that makes me the bad guy because I'm the only one standing on business and not backing down. The worst part is my girlfriend is incredibly depressed over all of this. She feels torn between her family and our little family, and I honestly don't know what to do anymore. This has gone way too far, and I just want it to be over. And that's the end of that story. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, she's going through so much. She just had a baby.
Yeah.
She just had a baby, and it has to deal with all this.
It's just like, come on. We
Yeah.
should just get an apology and all move on and be happy and see our baby.
Yes.
I confronted my mother about decades of neglect, and then she threatened to disappear.
She was just like, yeah, you're right.
My mom, 74, and I, 38 male, just had a long discussion that stemmed from years of resentment that has built up over the years. Gotta love that. I am the youngest of 4 siblings, and I was the only lucky one to have been given the privilege of moving to the U.S. at a young age with my mom. My siblings have some resentment towards my mom and me because they feel that I was given opportunities that they weren't. But for the most part, they haven't made it a big issue in the last 10 years or so. By the way, this comes from Twish 2020. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily. But we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. You silly little goose. And OP says, my mom became a widow back in 2018. Upon her husband's passing, he didn't leave her anything. He was also my mom's right-hand man, and unfortunately, she became dependent on him to perform every task. In her 30 years in the U.S., she never learned how to drive or speak the language. This caused my mom to essentially fend for herself when she had never had the need to. She never had the chance to properly mourn him, and to this day, she still talks about him. It's worth mentioning that when my mom and her then boyfriend were dating, my mom used to prefer him over me. She would leave me home alone at night to go and spend the night at his house. The little time that she had throughout the weekdays to spend with me was monopolized by him coming over to our house. I was only 10 years old when this was happening, and I hated the situation so much that I asked her to send me back home to live with my sister, something that she did for 2.5 years. My mom and I have had a complex relationship. With me being the only one living in the U.S., I've always looked out for her. I've helped her in many ways, especially economically. In fact, when her husband passed away, I bought her a mobile home for her to live in, while she was responsible for paying for her space and utilities. She's never had to pay a cell phone bill, and anything that she's ever wanted, I've made happen for her. My mom has always had a weird jealousy when I've been married or dated after my marriage ended. In her eyes, no one will ever be good enough for me. She's made it very clear to me and has made passive-aggressive comments and actions with my exes during and after my relationships. I have 3 children from those relationships, so I still stay in touch with my exes. Over the last few years, my mom has become extremely negative, to the point where it's exhausting to have a conversation with her because she always finds the negative in any situation. I've tried to make her understand that interacting with someone like that can be exhausting, but she justifies it by stating that she's 74 years old and she shouldn't have to watch her words. She also tends to get into arguments with family members, including my siblings and her own sisters. She always tends to gossip about others, something that makes me really upset and something that I don't like to participate in. I've told her that the less I know about people's lives, the better it is for me. Yet she still tries to tell me about what others have been up to. In the last couple of years, I've found that she has tried pinning my siblings against each other. Whenever she gets into an argument with one of them, she goes to the next sibling and tells them about the awful things that was done and said to her. I've told my mom very clearly she needs to stop this behavior because it's causing my siblings issues. She has also tried to get me involved, but I've learned through the years how she operates, and now I just ignore her, something that she absolutely hates. Last year, I was diagnosed with a rare type of tumor. Initially, it was diagnosed as liver cancer. Before I had a chance to digest it, she ended up communicating it to my entire family. I wasn't ready to announce it yet because I hadn't processed it and was in shock. However, because of her actions, I had to confirm that I was diagnosed with cancer and get all that attention, something I truly hated. Since then, my diagnosis has been updated to a tumor that, with the proper medical care, will allow me to live a full life. I've never really had a chance to live by myself in my adult life because I've either been married or in a relationship. And whenever I've been single, she immediately wants to be with me. I've allowed her to do so because she doesn't have anyone else left in the U.S. I'm currently single and she has been in my house on and off for 3 years. Ever since my diagnosis, she has been here more often to help me with my kids, but having her around has taken a huge toll on my mental health. I look for ways to not be around my mom, and I hate this. I love my mom, but I hate what she has become. I've asked her numerous times to seek counseling to process everything that she's holding on to, but she has refused. Last night, I spoke with my siblings on a conference call to let them know that my mom needs to move back home as I'm unable to keep her around. They all agreed that I've done more than I perhaps should have. However, during the call, my brother began bashing my other brother and sister because they've been taking mom's money, something that I, for a fact, know that my mom has offered.
We got a liar on our hands.
It's less about taking the money and more like receiving the money.
Yeah, exactly. Accepting it.
Generous donations from the Bank of Mom.
Precisely.
Today, I confronted my mom about this. I told her that my siblings are getting into arguments because of her actions. I also told her that while I appreciate the fact that she wants to care for me now, I really needed her when I was a child. And I also have resentment for her having chosen her boyfriend or husband over me. She didn't like this and immediately attacked me, saying that she also has a lot of resentment towards me. However, when I asked her about what it was, she couldn't come up with anything. I ultimately told her that I need some space and that I want to be able to miss her, something I've never had the chance to do. After so many years of held up resentment, I was able to get it all out in the open. My mom cried and stated that I was unfair to her and that she shouldn't have invested so much in me since at the end of the day, I'm paying her this way. Yeah, neglecting your child, that's their fault.
Yeah, what? Also, like, what way do you need to pay your mom? Like, what? This isn't, there needs to be no payment for anything. This shouldn't be accepted as payment for something. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Literally bought her a place to live.
Yeah.
You bought her that mobile home.
Yeah.
She can't do anything for herself in the States. She doesn't know how to speak or, I guess, read English, so she can't fill out her own forms. She can't set up her own doctor's appointments. She can't do that unless she can do it with, in her native language, but we are not sure what that is.
Like, the least she can do for you is just to, like, give you some space.
Doesn't know how to
That's all you
drive.
need. That's all
Forgot
you need.
that. Sorry. Doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah, that's true. That too.
And now she's going to be like, I regret you because you helped me so much.
Oh my gosh.
She also said that I shouldn't have told her that everything is her fault. I did tell her that the issues that she had caused with my siblings were entirely her fault because it's true. I disagree with that.
You think like the siblings?
The root of the action might be with her, but it's ultimately not her fault that her children can't compute like why, or getting into their own argument. Like, you're taking mom's money. It's like, no, mom is offering us this money.
Yeah. Like
It doesn't sound like
the
she's...
siblings can talk to each other.
It's like, no, mom, you can't help anyone but me.
Right.
She then threatened with the fact that she would move back home and that she didn't want to know any more about my siblings or me, and that she would just disappear and that we would never be able to find her or see her again. I felt relieved being able to tell her about some of the things that I've been holding on to for years. It was like a weight off my shoulders. However, now I'm also concerned because of the stuff she said about disappearing. So with all of this said, I'm the a-hole for having brought it up.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think so. I don't think so, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be like, okay, you can disappear. You can try. I guarantee you're going to reach out to me for something. But I mean, at the end of the day, if she is entirely helpless living here and can't do anything on her own, maybe she does need to move back.
Yeah, honestly, if she can.
She needs to either move back or carve out a clear path towards some level of independence where you don't have to feel entirely responsible for her whole existence.
Right, because it's normal for like kids to help out the parents, but she's just so reliant on that, especially like if she was already like that with her husband before he passed away. It's like, well, yeah come on, girl. Like, I'm sorry, but you gotta, we can't do everything for you.
We gotta,
Uh-oh, naked, block it. No, no nudity.
We have some comments here. Let's get into it. Comment 1 asks for info. Even though this is a long post, it's missing critical details. Why did your mom abandon her 3 other children in a foreign country? Are there multiple husbands here? You refer to your mom's partner as her husband, not my father. How is it possible that her husband could pass away and leave her penniless? Sounds like a lawyer should be consulted. You claim she had no money, yet your siblings are fighting over her giving money to some and not others. How is that possible if she had no resources? Everyone sounds like an a-hole here to some extent, but if you've been caregiving for your mother, it sounds fair that the other siblings would help. Except she abandoned them and went to a foreign country. So if it was me and my mom had abandoned me, I'd tell her she needs to stick to relying on her golden child youngest son. OP says, they were not abandoned. My siblings are older than I am. When my mom and I left, they were already married and in their 20s with children. I was 9. Yes, my mom was married to her first husband, which resulted in my 3 siblings. My mom divorced, and 15 years later, I was born from my mom's second relationship. My parents were never married. When she moved to the U.S., she met this guy who would become her second husband. Her second husband never saved up any money to leave behind. He didn't even have life insurance to set her up. The only thing that he left for my mom was his Social Security survivor's benefits, which is her only income now that she's retired. Also, when she sold the mobile home that I bought for her, she ended up with about $50,000 in equity, which went straight to her. Yes, she has helped 2 of them. My oldest brother had an accident a few years ago, and we paid, yes, myself included, about $20,000 in medical care. My sister has also benefited by asking for money for regular expenses, while my second brother hasn't personally asked her for anything. Every time that my mom goes back home, she opens up the wallet and buys them all sorts of things, including taking them out to eat or on trips. Therefore, the conflict of them believing that there's an imbalance. Comment 2 says, I don't think you were wrong at all. You said your piece and it needed to be said. Sometimes parents don't realize how much damage they caused until you finally spell it out. The sad part is they take it as an attack instead of as a chance to heal. But you sound like you're finally putting yourself first, and that's not selfish, that's survival. And by the way, if you want to survive, you need to go listen immediately to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, just search OK Storytime.
My father tried to steal the house sale money after abandoning us for years.
That's my house. I just left.
My dad, 49 male, and I, 29 male, have been trying to sell the house. He's not fluent in English, so I've been doing the majority of the paperwork. He's also fixed up the house a bit with what money he could scrounge up. By the way, this comes from KP96, and if you want to submit your own story, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. A few weeks ago, we signed our closing documents and discussed how to distribute the proceeds. We did finalize on an equal split of 50-50 between my father and I. I explained it to him, in which he understood fully. Fast forward to today, I get an email with final documents to sign. When I went to review them, it showed 100% proceeds going to my dad. I was confused as to why that was the case, when we both agreed on it during our last signing. So I reached out to the closing agent for an explanation as to why this was the case. Spoiler! I never got an answer from them. The buyer for our house is closing in a few days, so we needed to get this matter dealt with ASAP. Then later that day, my dad calls me to discuss why I reached out to the agent and had them do a 50-50 split instead of giving him 100% of the closing proceeds. For a little backstory to explain, we bought the house 6 years ago, in which I had to help co-sign with my dad. Yeah, it was a terrible idea to do so that we could grab the house. The first year was pretty normal. Everyone kind of pitched in to pay for utilities and rent. There were 6 of us living there, with 5 who had stable income. Second year comes around and my dad found a new avenue to go and do shady work in the west side of the country. So he took some money and left to go follow. Throughout this time, my mother, 48 female, lost her job. My sister, 24 female, left before she got married. And my younger brother, 19 male, started college, so he couldn't work enough. That left me with paying most of all the bills on a single income. I did get a second job to bust butt, but that took quite a toll on me, so I went back to the one. Mind you, my dad was only ever back for a week once a month. So you can pretty much say he was never really around. He would also ask us to send him money. My mom would send
now,
what
hold
she could.
If he was back for a week every month, if somebody came around and said, I'm taking 25% of your paycheck, would you say that that basically is not taking any of your paycheck? Because he was technically there 25% of the time. So 1/4 of the month is more than zero.
No, more than nothing.
Significantly more than none.
My mom would send what she could, but I told her not to do so since he wasn't even here to help her. The next 4 years ended up with me having to pay all the bills and take care of 3 other people with the majority of my income. I pulled work here and there to really scrape by as best as I could so that the others could still have a roof above their head. Now, I'll mention that my dad never once sent us money to help the family, only to pay for his bills. I love my dad, but his inability to help the more important matters was beyond sad. Fast forward to early last year, we found out that my dad had been in an affair with another woman from overseas. Us as kids were pretty straightforward with our disgust because we were old enough to understand, whereas my mother took it the worst. It broke her emotionally and mentally. There are a bunch of things that happened that I can't go into detail about. Eventually, my dad decided to return permanently, but the damage had been done. We didn't look at him the same, and then divorce papers came running. My parents had a whole entire episode of back and forth that ended with my mother moving out since the house was under me and my dad's name. My 2 younger brothers went with my mom since they enjoyed her company more. I left the house soon after as well since I had gotten engaged, and my fiance and I found better work in our South, which left my dad with a low-income job paying for the house by himself. I would send a little of what I could to help him scrape by. Now, back to the present. My dad asked why I was unwilling to give him 100% of the proceeds and he would distribute it how he saw fit. I told him exactly why. We both agreed to a 50-50 split when we were signing the documents with the closing agent, and now you're telling me to turn around and have them write it all to you? Says Opie. He then went on a long story as to why it should be 100% to him and he should split it how he saw fit. It all culminated on, 'cause for the last year since you all left, I've been paying for the mortgage and even used my own money to fix it up before it got up on the market.
Oh, you mean that thing that we were doing the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, the thing we were doing the whole time.
The whole time?
Oh, we already did that. We did that.
And you did it for 1 month?
We did that more than you, actually. We did that a lot more than you did. So that's a good point. I'll give you 20%.
Yeah, you're actually getting less. Now, I don't know about you, but you aren't entitled to it all just because you did that for the year. If by his logic he's entitled to it because of the year and fixing it up, then the 4 years that he was absent and I took care of everything there meant I too was entitled to the money. My dad and I had quite a bit of back and forth until I eventually said, F it. You know what? I never cared about the money in the first place, but because you keep making it out like you're entitled to it, let's just do 40 me and 60% you and call it a day. He did seem to agree, but kept trying to guilt trip me with sob stories so that I would agree to the 100%. I told him clear as day, I'm telling you here and now, Dad, I'll take 40 and you 60. Once we end the call here, I'm letting both our real estate agents and closing agents know. My dad went silent for a little while before trying to guilt trip me again with, if you see me as your dad, then you'd put it as 100 for me, and I'll give you what you deserve as my son.
That's actually insane.
Because clearly he wants to give you less than 40%. I think he was going to give you $1. I think he was going to give you an egg.
He's like, if you really see me as your father, you'll trust me to screw you over, and you'll let it happen.
You'll thank me for it.
Because I'm your dad.
I ended the call right there and then. I emailed our agents and am now just waiting to hear back before the closing date for our buyers. I would have lowered my portion more had he not been so insistent. Am I the a-hole for doing it the way I did? And there are some comments, but Dakota.
No, in fact, you should have actually started to be like, I'm starting to feel like I deserve more money just for dealing with you like this.
Yeah. You can't just, I would not have caved to giving him even 60% because that is too much money.
Too much.
And he does not deserve any of it. Comment 1. The most important information is not given to us in your post. You say you consigned his loan for the house and that your mom moved out because the house was in your and your father's name. But please say straight out, are you also on the deed as an equal owner? OP says, dang, can't believe I forgot that. I was still livid while typing it all down. Yes, my name is on both the deed and the loan. Then why are you giving him 60? Take 40. Take that 40. Reply. Listen, I'm gonna be nice here, but you're not the brightest crayon in the box. What your family thinks don't matter. Their opinions don't pay the bills. OP says, yeah, that's fact, and it's not going to be productive. I'm fine leaving the funds sitting there. And another comment says, not the a-hole, in the absence of any other language, you and your father are equal co-owners and entitled to an equal split. I suggest doing a spreadsheet of the house expenses, the actual building only, so mortgage, insurance, taxes, etc. Tell your father that if his contribution is over 50%, then he can add the overage to his half. If his contribution is less than 50%, if you're feeling generous, you can still give him 50%. But you're legally entitled to your half, so if you don't want to bother with all that, just take it. Dad's either being greedy or he wants to be the big man. There is an update, but you guys could be the big man too if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search a book of Storytime. But there is a little bit left. Any final thoughts for OP?
I think you should start itemizing from now on. Anything, any expense you incur because of your father, you need to like list it and then send him an invoice for it forever.
Yeah.
And
Ever.
you'll say, if you see me as your son, you will pay for these
You'll
bills.
pay me. If you see me as your son, you'll pay for my in and out. I want this burger. Someone mentioned if my name was on the deed. Short answer is yes. Update 2. My dad decided he wanted to escalate the issue to our relatives. So now we're going to discuss this with relatives and come to a consensus. Why?
Why? Like, what does that have to do with it?
Why?
Well, I think we should talk about it with more people who don't really have any bearing on it.
Your relatives aren't on the freaking lease or the anything.
The equivalent of that is what he's really saying is, well, I'm going to make this everyone's problem, and I'm going to make people choose sides, and I'm going to mess up our entire family over this.
And you're going to be happy about it if you're my son. I'm already pulling documents to show why he shouldn't get 100% proceeds. I've got my stuff ready to retort any statement my dad will come up with. Even if my relatives agree that my dad should get 100%, it doesn't matter because they have no say. They have literally no say. It's like me
no
being
say
like,
Albanos.
it's like me being like, well, I think that freaking prime minister in London should be different. I don't have a say. I don't live there.
I don't even think people in London have a say in
No.
that, really.
It's like
I
someone
think
in
that
London
doesn't
saying,
the
"I don't
parliament
think-"
vote for that? There's a
Well,
very
they-
select group of people who have a say in that.
Well, no, they vote for
So then I guess, do the people vote for their parliament?
Yeah, they vote for the
members?
parliament, and then the parliament votes.
So it's like, yeah, by proxy,
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do.
in a way. We don't. Let's not.
I'm still not going to agree to anything, and that's the end of the story. But we get another one.
I cut off my mother and siblings after my wedding, and nobody believed me.
Did they not see that they're not around?
I, 28 female, have just recently cut off my mother and 2 siblings. I've never posted to this and am genuinely wondering if I'm in the wrong. My mother, 60, and my 2 siblings, 32 female and 22 male, have pushed me past my breaking point. By the way, this comes from Finally Healing 10 on our subreddit. R/OK Storytime subreddit, by the way.
That's crazy.
And if you want to submit your own stories, go to that subreddit. Post a little something.
Do it.
Do it. But I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in this situation. So let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, for context, it all started about 20 years ago when my parents got divorced. My mother has always put me down for the slightest thing, but the moment people were around, she'd play like she was just praising me and I was an ungrateful child. My sister has always been her best friend, and when they would fight, she would complain to me about everything they were fighting about, including calling her nasty names. My brother has always been mama's boy, and there is no opening his eyes. I am also the only one who initiates contact with all 3 of them. Anyways, this past year was really the final straw. It all began with Easter. I had asked my sister if she knew what was happening for Easter, and all I got was more than likely nothing because we all don't have the money to do Easter this year. So my husband and I decided that we would do Easter at his parents' house. This is the first year that we had actually been with them for the actual holiday. Normally, we would celebrate holidays with his parents a week or so earlier to go to my mother's house for the actual holidays. The night before Easter, as we were at his parents' house, I received a message from my sister at 11:30 p.m. saying that all of a sudden they had the money to do Easter and we needed to be there in the morning. At 11:30 p.m., you're going to change plans? That's last minute,
That's
dude.
almost the next day.
Yes, as
You have
last
30
minute as you can
minutes.
get. Oh my gosh. At this point, we were an hour and a half away, and it was almost the middle of the night when I received the message. My husband, our daughter, and I were all sleeping, so I didn't see it until we got up in the morning. I messaged her back saying that we wouldn't be making it as we now already had plans after she told me they were doing nothing. I then put my phone down and we went about our day. My phone gets blown up from her and my mother asking where we were. I, of course, not having my phone so that we could enjoy our day, didn't hear it go off until we were headed home at 6 p.m. I then texted my mother saying we weren't coming and told my sister that we were just leaving my in-laws' house. I got radio silence for almost a whole month. Oh my gosh, a month? Mother's Day comes around, and I, of course, get blown up by my coworkers and family, except for my mother and siblings. At this point, I am in the middle of running errands and busy being an adult. I looked at my husband and said the only way I'm going to hear it from them is if I say it first. My own boss said Happy Mother's Day to me before my own mother and siblings did. I had to say it first, like I told my husband. As time went on, I decided I was done being the one who calls or texts to hear anything from them. My husband has stuck by my side for every decision I've made leading up to cutting them off. By the time the end of June came around, my mother and siblings had now told my grandmother, who lives over 1,500 miles away from all of us, that I'm doing and saying all of these crazy things. Side note, my husband and I were planning our wedding, which was in October, so it was easier to not have much contact except for when I needed to fill them in on certain things for the wedding. They really started making things up out of thin air. My mother left my dad a very messed up message saying that I'm crazy because I think she is going to hurt his wife. What?
What is happening?
I've never said that to anyone. I am still in utter shock that this was all happening. Yeah, me too. This feels like such a whirlwind.
All for just not going to something that they changed plans on initially in the middle of the night.
Like, huh? My husband and I talked about it for a solid week before making any decision. He said he was going to talk to my mother and get everything cleared up. They spoke for about 5 hours. After he got home, he said, the moment anything happens that we are no longer comfortable with, we will cut them off. Things were good up until I was setting up bridesmaids and flower girls for picking out dresses. My sister tells me 9 a.m. is too early for her to come to my house so that we can all drive down together, seeing as the dress place was over an hour away. I told her that she can either drive down on her own or pick a dress out online. I told her that it could be any style, but it had to be black. She then proceeded to argue about what color the dresses should be, and I stood my ground. She said she was joking, but it honestly made me worry that she was going to show up with the wrong colored dress because she suggested dark purple. She said that she was kidding after I told her no.
That's just like something you don't kid about.
Yeah, like what?
Like, why are you stressing me out for no reason?
No, yeah, exactly. Why are you arguing with me
Right.
for so, like, you could kid for like 1 or 2 little sentences of an argument. But if you're going back and forth,
Then I'm not trusting that you're kidding.
No, you're
Yeah.
definitely not kidding.
Especially with this person specifically, though. Like, I would
Yeah.
already be on edge.
Totally. Like, yeah.
I don't like
And depending
it.
on what they're saying too, yeah.
Yeah.
She then proceeded to tell my coworker on his day off how she thinks it's BS she couldn't be unique from the rest. She wasn't even my maid of honor. My best friend I grew up with was my maid of honor. Then what really pissed me off was what happened at my daughter's birthday party. The day before the party, my sister told me that her daughter had another birthday party the same day and they would be over after that. I said that was fine, thinking it wouldn't be too long after the party had started. The day of the party, everyone started showing up. I hadn't heard from my mom or siblings, so I tried calling my mom, but it was going straight to voicemail, which meant her phone was off. They all lived together. I stopped worrying about it and figured they were on their way. We did cake and presents and people started leaving, which was normal. It wasn't until almost 4 p.m. that I got a message from my sister saying that mom wasn't coming because she was sick and that they weren't heading over until 4:45 p.m. They definitely didn't leave until closer to 6 because they didn't get there until almost 7. They showed up, started grabbing food to eat, and ignored my daughter. Normally, we do a little bit of fireworks, so some people stay the night and enjoy a nice fire. They were there for a total of 45 minutes. Then my sister started grabbing a whole bunch of food to take with them when they were leaving without even asking. Thankfully, my in-laws caught what was happening and stopped her. My brother also told me that my mother didn't want to come, so she decided that she wasn't coming and that she wasn't sick at all. At this point, I was just getting very annoyed, but I learned that if I react to their behavior, it only makes it worse. Fast forward to the bridal shower. Both my mom and sister showed up, not in their right mind. Everyone can see that they kept doing things to try to make it about them. I am at my boiling point. I just want to snap, but I know how to behave in public. Then comes the wedding. The day before the wedding, my maid of honor, her boyfriend, and I spent 4 hours setting up. I messaged all of my bridesmaids at the same time, letting them know what time I wanted them to show up in the morning so that we could get started early enough to be on time for the wedding. The day of the wedding, we are getting ready at my in-laws' house. Everyone, thankfully, shows up on time, but the first thing that comes out of my mother's mouth is how she is now getting divorced for a second time and making it about her. Not even 5 minutes in the door. You're going to announce your divorce at a wedding?
That's potentially crazier. Is a proposal or a divorce crazier at a wedding?
That's a good question.
Maybe
That's a
they're
good
just
question.
equally as awful.
Yeah.
You're doing what?
Yeah. As we're getting ready, it's starting to get later and later. I tell my husband to bring our daughter over and see what else needs to get finished up. We all eventually head out and head over to the wedding venue, which was at my dad's side of the family's house. As I am getting in my dress, I'm still trying to coordinate things going on outside. It was not easy doing this wedding because we basically did everything ourselves. My sister and mother almost arrived late and still weren't dressed. I told them to get ready and I head out to do first look photos with my husband. As the day goes on, my brother and my sister's husband are now a half hour late and no one has heard from them. I'm trying to be respectful by waiting for them to show up, but I'm really getting tired of waiting. Mind you, my sister, fully high off pills and the same as my mother, was really starting to get on my nerves. The wedding finally starts and we managed to get through without a problem. While we were taking photos after the ceremony, like any normal newly married couple, my mother starts to complain that we're not moving quickly enough through our bridesmaids and groomsmen photos, and she just wants to get photos done. Thankfully, my aunt told her to stop, but she didn't. I told her that we were working on it and to calm down. I was getting very irritated at this point. Now everyone is eating and the kids are playing. I didn't hear any more outbursts for the rest of the day. It wasn't until the next day that I found everything that was said about me to my stepmom. When I say she dragged my name through the mud, I was completely outraged. She sat there telling BS lies to her. Thankfully, my stepmom is not stupid enough to believe them. After I received my wedding photos, I posted them to my social media and told my husband that I'm giving it 48 hours and that I'm blocking all of them from everything. My husband then received an entire book of text messages from my sister telling him that I'm a liar, she doesn't understand what she did wrong, and he shouldn't believe a word I say because I'm a fake person. Clearly, he has seen that no one has texted me since the wedding and hasn't even tried calling. And you should try listening to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. Because you're going to find those full episodes. Give it a shot. And there is another update, but
I'm surprised you
we're all
even
over the
invited
place.
these people to the wedding.
Right?
Like,
That was impressive that they made it there.
yeah, I feel like they hit enough strikes well before that.
Yeah. But I don't even know why they're still reaching out. Like, what do they want from you?
What were they getting out of the daughter's birthday
Yeah.
party except for maybe food? But like, I don't feel like that's why they even came.
right? Like, there's so much work to just get food.
Driving an hour to get some food.
Yeah. And then an hour back, too. It would have
Right.
had to been.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think these are people that you don't need in your life. And I'm glad that you're making this decision that you don't need them. You
Yes.
want them in your life.
Very good.
And I'm glad that your husband seemingly seems to support it. Update. I will keep this short. I know I wrote a book last time because I have blocked everyone. Now my sister is going around to everyone I have a close relationship with and trying to pit us against each other. She messaged my mother-in-law saying that I'm psychotic and need to be put in a mental hospital. She has also posted a long post on Facebook that I haven't read yet. My best friend is coming over today so that I can see what was said. And we do have a second update here, actually. I managed to read the literal book my sister posted to her Facebook. She goes on to say that everyone who associates with me needs to block her because I'm a crappy human who needs therapy because I got my uncle who passed away tattooed on my leg as a tribute to him. I couldn't help but laugh because at this point it has become comical with the number of times she has repeated the same sentence. And that is the end of that story. Oh my gosh.
So obviously people aren't believing her.
Yeah, I guess
Because that's insane if they do.
right. Yeah, they've got to be. Or like even if they hear that story, they're hopefully are just like, I mean, it's not that bad.
Right. She got a tattoo in memoriam.
Yeah, like yeah, man.
My mother warned me for months, and now she's telling me to move out.
Seems like you were warned.
I'm 19 and live with my 52-year-old mother and 14-year-old brother. I'm a night owl and I game throughout the night. By the way, this comes from I don't want to leave 99. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
And I'm a night owl gamer, Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. My mother is the lightest sleeper on the planet.
Ooh.
She's been telling me for months to get on a normal sleeping schedule. Sleep from midnight to 8 a.m., and I ignored her. She threatened punishment and said she would make changes. Again, I ignored her. I went downstairs this morning at 7 a.m. to get water before sleeping and woke her up. Now I'm told that I need to find a roommate and leave. I never thought it would come to this, and I feel terrible for putting my mother in this situation.
Twice.
I have no savings, very little job experience, an out-of-state driver's license, and a diploma that says I finished high school after being homeschooled. I offered to sell the computer and look for work, and she denied it. I offered to do more around the house, and she denied it. All she asked me to do was change my sleeping schedule as it interfered with her work, 20 plus years as a licensed mental health counselor. I had no idea it would come to this, and I'm so scared. She won't verbally speak to me, and we've been texting all morning. When I offered to sell my gaming stuff and help with bills because I didn't want to be kicked out, she just said I was doing another extreme action and that she had spent months trying to find balance. She insisted she wasn't punting me out, but finding me an environment that would work better for me. I told her if I had to pick between gaming all night and sleeping in my own house, I would give up the gaming. But she said it was always about finding balance, not giving something up. When I said she was making me give up my home, she explained that she had been begging me to make her sleep the priority so she could function, that she could no longer fight for her sleep after 20 years.
Dude, OP, I do feel a little bit bad for you. It does suck.
You were warned.
You were warned, and all you had to do was change your gaming schedule just a little bit.
Like, she didn't even say stop. You could have just played during the day. I apologized and asked if there was anything I could do. Even talked to Ken, my old therapist, because I really didn't want to leave. She said this wasn't a manipulation or barter situation. She wasn't interested in backing up after taking things to this edge. I asked what I needed to do for her. She pointed out I was only thinking about myself and affecting all three of us. She told me that until I wasn't as scared, I should give it a rest, because she didn't need an extreme reaction. Then asked what I thought would happen. I admitted I thought she would take my computer and internet away, which I would prefer to leaving. She said, at 19 years old, it's no longer about taking things away. Something she said that stuck out to me is that I'm only thinking about myself, and I am. But I don't know how to not think like that. How do I think for her, about her, and my brother for that matter? I feel bad for putting her in this situation, but I'm also mad at her for not explicitly telling me something like fix the sleep schedule and let me sleep or leave. Am I a bad son, or is it our communication? My mother has always been amazing. I guess I wasn't so much as a son. I don't think that you were a bad son. I think you're being inconsiderate, semi-selfish human.
I think you're also just a little bit immature.
Because you're young. Like, I don't think that you have done anything, like, absolutely outrageously terrible, but it is time to, like, get that cold water, like, splash and, like, wake up and do some stuff.
Oh, and what does his mom do again? Wasn't she?
She's a therapist.
She's a therapist. Yeah, I know a lot of kids who don't want to, or like family members don't want to go to their own family for this, but I guarantee you your mom was telling you hard or harsh truths that you didn't care about.
It does just sound like it might be time to, like, get up and do something.
This is the big
get out
old...
and get a job, or get out and go to school, or...
Yeah, and now, like you said, this is my house.
It's not.
It's not.
I literally have no money and no insurance, no car, no job, and no one to go to. I can sell my gaming equipment, but that's only worth less than $1,600. What do I do? Comment 1. Yes, you were a bad son. This is not a communication problem. This is you being a self-centered a-hole problem. It is not unrealistic or even a big ask for your mother to want you not to disturb her, since she's the one who has to work in the household. How simple would it be to get headphones so your gaming is not loud, and keep a stock of snacks and drinks in your room so you don't have to leave the room? But you spent a very long time being very inconsiderate to the person who pays the bills, and now it's time to face up to the fact that you effed up. What do? Well, you get a job ASAP. The economy isn't that bad right now. If you have no skills, look to either the military, who will take most warm bodies.
Don't do that. I mean, you can. If that's like, it seems like you're just like...
Yeah, I don't like that as the, like, immediate push for. And I also want to know when this was posted that they're saying the economy isn't bad right now.
I was also going to say that.
Or the restaurant industry, which is always hiring and usually isn't too picky about a resume. Sell the gaming equipment and check Craigslist for listings of people looking for roommates who live near bus lines. $1,600 should be enough for a deposit and first month's rent, and for a bus pass that will let you get to work if you do some walking. Within that month, the job should generate enough income to pay the next month. Save every penny you can for a few months, then hit up Craigslist again. It can turn up a cheap car if you look carefully. You don't need something fancy. You want something about 15 years old that runs and costs less than $1,000. Less than 150k miles is a bonus. Use that car and keep saving until you can afford a better one. Or that one kicks it and you have to buy another beater. Add furniture carefully. One can live for a very long time with just a sleeping bag and a few piles of clothes in your room.
I feel like your mom's not going to be like...
I think if you were like, I'm moving, I'm taking my stuff.
I feel like your mom's going to be like, all right, you know what?
Cool, you're moving.
You're moving. I will provide maybe some sort of assistance. But I'm also getting the context of possibly, OP, your mom did this all herself too. She figured it out all on her own. Maybe not. Maybe who's to say? But if she's the one to be like, you know what, figure it out, get out of the house, you know, you did this, you reap what you sow.
There's also a good chance that if you do show like real action and you go out and you find a place, that she might come around and help you out a little bit eventually. but don't count on that.
Nope. This is where you just count on yourself and you figure it out on your own. Hey, you're gaming all night. You probably are playing some pretty creative games that you have communication on. Use those skills. Use those tactics to better your life and to figure it out on your own. I think you got this. It's going to be a struggle, but this is a big reality check.
One can live for a very long time with just a sleeping bag and a few piles of clothes in your room. Learn to use the kitchen. Cooking for yourself is cheaper than eating out. Basically, it's time to grow the F up. You acted like a child and were completely unappreciative of the cushy situation you had before. So now it's time to join the real world. Comment 2. It sounds like she did give you a warning. Show some initiative and get a job, bike, or take public transportation if it's available in your area. It's time to grow up and hop out of mama's nest. Comment 3. Yes, you acted badly. Sell your gaming stuff. Start looking for a job and roommate. Buy a bus pass or bike. She gave you months to fix the problem. You ignored her. You were selfish and thinking only of yourself. She has herself and another child to think of. She gave you an opportunity to stay at home and not pay anything or help. You should have taken advantage of that by going to school or at least finding a job and saving money. Comment 4. Find a job, find an apartment with a roommate, grow up, you're 19. Comment 5. Jumping into the adult world is scary enough, but being pushed into it by your mother, safety blanket, is more scary. So I get why you're worried about being homeless and alone, but regardless of the situation, your mom is doing the right thing. Gaming all night is not the way to live. You need to show her you're a responsible adult. Find a job, maybe 2. Also find a roommate or crash at a friend's house. Time to start planning for a future. And by the way, you guys should plan to listen to more full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. For the time being, I'm allowed to store my stuff in my room. It'll be untouched until I have somewhere to put it. I don't have a time frame of when I need to be out, but I'm trying to do it ASAP. Oddly enough, I'm not as scared as I was when I first found out. Still really effing scared, but also excited? I don't know, a lot of emotions are being processed. We have some comments. Comment 1. Best safety net would be the military for experience, for the workforce, food, and a place to live. Either make it a career, go to school in the military, and make it a career. Or go to school, then find a job wherever you want to live. Definitely plan it out, though, so you're not homeless after the military. If you don't want to go, then you can go to a homeless shelter near you and work for Walmart or whatever work you can find. Comment 2. Yup, you a crap son. We all were, though. If anything, I was worse than you. This also sounds like a good thing because this is how you grow up. Scary as it is, a year from now when you have a job, are renting somewhere and making new friends, or with everything, you'll appreciate being forced out of the house. This is coming from a guy who used to game and watch anime all day at home and still does, only independently. And that is the end of that story.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
plan Z, if all else fails, like those comments did say, the military, that shouldn't be your
Or if the
number
military
one.
is something that you're already pre-interested in and have been thinking about before.
Don't-
I just don't like...
No, I know.
That's just my personal thing.
That's not not to shoot anyone down or anything like that. But I don't want the gamer guy, like the trope of like, I play Call of Duty. I know the military logistics, and I can just walk in and breeze. I'm max prestige.
I mean, I guess there's also military jobs that aren't like... It is an option. I would personally recommend school first.
I
But
recommend.
that's also like personal preference. If you're not a school person, you're not a school person. Get a job either way.
Yeah, I recommend take it all in. Again, you got the cold hard water on your face.